Hello, hello, Andre MM. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, TikTok family. Welcome, YouTube family. We're going to have a very interesting topic today. We're going to be talking about egregores. Um, Prepare to be here for a while. Go get your popcorn. Go sit down somewhere because we're going to be here for a minute talking about egregores. Very interesting topic. I told you that I would come back here and I would talk about egregores. So today we're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down so you can understand what egregores are and how they impact us. Hello, that homeschooler. Hello, beloved. How you doing? How's everyone doing out there? So prepare. We're going to be here for a minute. So get comfortable where you are. Go get your popcorn. Go get you something to drink. Relax, cause and get ready to chime in and ask your questions and engage. Cause we're gonna be here for a minute. We're gonna have a discussion here. Cause you probably gonna have some questions after this. When we get dive into this, it's probably gonna be mind boggling to you. You probably gonna be like, oh my gosh, really? Okay, so get ready to sit down, have a seat. Welcome TikTok family, welcome YouTube family. Get comfortable, get comfortable. Because this is going to be a vast topic because it impacts all of us. So get ready to sit down and have a discussion because you're probably going to have some questions. Welcome, 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 TikTok family. Welcome, 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 YouTube family. We are going to be talking about egregores today. A very interesting topic. After this, you can do your own research and fact check everything I'm saying. So just very interesting. You get a chance to hear what the some of the occultists have said about egregores. They're telling you, they're breaking it down, and you understand why I say what I say about Freemasons. Okay, so you're gonna get a real comprehension today. We're gonna be school today. Okay, so get somewhere and sit down and relax. Okay, and if you have some questions, jump on in. You got something to add, put that in there too. I want to hear from you because we got some stuff to cover. I'm waiting on Black Magic Mike to come, my little YouTube brother, my YouTube brother. Waiting on him to come in here because he know a lot about it too. So let me get started. Look like people are coming in here, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Now, if you have any questions, you have anything to add, Miss Penny don't mind, put it in the chat. I want to see what you got to say because I know this is something else. When I was going through it, I'm like, wow. Okay, so I read about egregores a long time ago when I started looking into Solomonic magic and Jewish mysticism. They're popular among Jewish mysticism as well. So let's dive in here and let's learn something about egregores, okay, and how they impact us, uh, whether negatively or positively. What is an egregore? A egregore is a collective energy field that emerges when two or more people unite under a shared purpose, belief, or emotion. The word originates from the word Greek, egregore, meaning watchers. Remember, Enoch kept calling up those watchers. He kept calling them watchers in the book of Enoch. Remember, he kept calling there was watchers. They're telling you here that they're egregores. So keep that in mind. Now, when you go back and read the book of Enoch, you probably is going to give you more clarity. Okay, referring to the spiritual beings that oversee humanity. In modern esoteric understanding, an egregore is a created through repeated thought, ritual worship, and emotional charge. The more people feed it, the stronger and more autonomous it becomes. So you talking about a giant thought form, of a servitor on a bigger level that people are unconsciously pouring into. Okay. Hey, Black Magic Mike. Hey, hey, hey. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you in the chat. Just getting started here. Over time, an egregore develops its own will to survive. It begins to influence its members subtly, shaping their thoughts, emotions, and behaviors to ensure its continuation. You getting what I'm putting down here? Is it making sense to you when I say thoughts are things? Your thoughts are powerful. In this way, a church, secret society, corporation, or even a social movement can begin to act like a living entity, protecting itself, defending its dogma, and resisting change. You seen the Matrix? You seen the Matrix? That's how them people be acting when you try to wake them up out the Matrix, or you try to tell them about what's going on with their religion is crazy. They go into glitch mode. This is what's going on. That's why I have to ask them, hey, what's the matter with you? That's why you hear me say, what's the matter with you? Something wrong with you. You don't even realize that you're sick. You're not even saying, is this coming from me or coming from somebody else? This is what's going on. And if you're not monitoring your own thoughts and your own emotions, you're gonna be under control of these things. This is what's happening in the matrix. These egregores. That's why you stand back and look. That's what the matrix is really telling you. These egregores, again, these spirits controlling these people. So when you don't slow down your mind and you're not questioning your thoughts and your emotions, and you call up in the matrix, you've been programmed to all this crap. That's what's going on. Yeah, like I said, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. We wrestling with these spirits that's inside people. Don't even know they got them inside them, acting like that. That's why I have to ask these Christians, "What's the matter with you?" You know that stuff don't make no sense, and then get mad when we point it out to you. But we gonna go on. We gonna go on here, so you'll see what. And legally, those organizations, 501(c)s, and corporations are people. Sounds like the movie Body Snatchers. Okay. And legally, those organizations, 501(c), and corporations are people. But once an organization form, it's I'm gonna give you more clarity. I'm not gonna move on because I don't want you to say Miss Penny making this up. Okay, I'm gonna go on because you will get a chance to see what the occultists have to say about this. The occultists already know about this. Our ancestors already knew about this. That's another reason why they didn't want us gathering together in our own language, practicing our own spiritual beliefs because of the egregore that we have when we get together. It's going to happen naturally. Our egregore is ancestral. They had to beat that down and put in their stuff. That's why they didn't want you practice your own language, your own spirituality, and all that. They didn't want you together like that. You would be too powerful. Okay? You would be too powerful. If you came together like that, they didn't let you do that because something would happen when we got together. Stuff just started to happen. They ain't like that. And they already knew about this because this knowledge is ancient and old. It's nothing new. They knew about these secret societies and all this. They knew about this. Let me move on. I want to get off topic here. When people are unaware of their own inner world, they become open vessels for the collective energies, thoughts, and emotions that don't originate from the individual's authentic self can easily take root. This is why spiritual discernment and self-awareness are so crucial. If you don't govern your thoughts, emotions, and intentions, something else will. Let me see. I just watched a video which the working on the thought forms and egregores. Mrs. Masters of Potions and my YouTube brother in here. He said I just watched the video my witch by witch and workings on the thought forms and egregores. He's male witch on YouTube. Whereas two or more, what Black Magic said the same thing. He says, where there is two or more you are gathered, I am in the midst. Remember that scripture in the Bible? Okay, I'm gonna go on. An egregore thrives on emotional resonance, fear, devotion, guilt, excitement, or unity. Without conscious awareness, individuals can unknowingly feed energies that keep them bound to collective illusions, dogma, energetic vampirism. These constructs can manipulate human behavior, encouraging conflict, separation, and dependency rather than liberation. And what you see in America, they breed codependency over there. Everybody want to follow somebody. Idolatry, it breeds that. No, there's not a lot of independent thinking going on. Okay? Question what your thoughts is, question your opinions, question your feelings. A lot of us are not aware of that because we're in survival mode. There is an occult concept of the egregore, a term derived from the Greek word for watcher. It is used for immaterial entity that watches or presides over some earthly affairs or collectively. So when you hear Enoch talking about the watchers, that is what he is saying. See how they keep talking in these cold words to you? And it's the patriarchs that's doing this. It's the patriarchs doing this. Okay? The important point is that an egregore is augmented by human belief, ritual, and especially by sacrifice. It is sufficiently nourished by energies. The egregore can take on a life of its own and appear to be an independent personal divinity with the limited power on behalf of its devotees and unlimited appetite for further devotion. It is then believed to be immortal god or goddess, an angel or a demon or a daemon. Now I'm gonna stop right here. Now I gotta go back up here to these people that's there's some of these ATRs, I don't know if they're authentic or not. But see, y'all go in there, some of y'all acting crazy. So I gotta ask you what you doing up in there. What are these sacrifices is for? Because see, you act like something wrong with you when you see somebody else doing something that's really none of your business. Because you don't own no spirit. So when I see y'all start acting like y'all start glitching, acting like Mr. Smith, and this is a person of African diaspora descent doing a thing, but because they not, going in your religion, because this is a religion now. What's going on with you? What you doing over there? Why you acting like something wrong with something the matter with you? Okay? Got to see, because see, say some of these places you think they authentic. Some of these organizations claim to be ATRs, and they doing some stuff they ain't got no business doing. So be careful out there, because especially when they got something to say about your spiritual practice, and you of over African diaspora descent, and they're gonna tell you what you can and can't do. Mind your business. Okay, if they follow their ancestors, who is you? If you can't add nothing and you steady trying to initiate somebody over here in this thing and you ain't trying to help them, why you so quick to initiate somebody instead of trying to help them? See, I question that. Okay? And as soon as I seen that, that's what that looked like to me. Okay? Because I'm telling you, watch out there. Okay, somebody said something here. Egregores are artificial spirit and they use it for either financial gain or power. It can be used in a variety of ways. From what I'm seeing here, it can be used in a variety of ways, just like you could a servitor. But it is the people that is pouring into this, and it can be directed by individual in the group. Oh, it just gets more and more crazy when you look at this. And you do your own research here, but we just dropped that our own book in here on egregores. This is coming from the resource that we have over here. This called, let me go back to the beginning. Egregores, the occult entities that watch over human destiny. We go back to the beginning. This book is by Mark Stavish Mark Stavish, a foreword by James Wasserman. Again, the name of the book is Egregores, the occult entities that watch over human destiny. Now these occultists wrote these books and they telling you they ain't doing that up in there. This stuff is coming straight from an occultist. Okay? Black Freemasons don't know the full truth. Only allow the black elites full access to the network. I don't know. I find that hard to believe as I move on with this. I find that kind of hard to believe to a certain extent. Okay? To a certain extent, I find that hard to believe. And so let's move on here. Egregores were formed to oh Lord, left my can't see over here. There we go. Or it can be left over in a space and you can pick up on it, and when you pass through from it, from what I've heard, yep, you can do it like that too, Black Magic. You can feel it because it'll be in a location. Now I felt a little bit of that. That's why I do urge people. I'm just quirky like that, to go down to those ceremonial spots, to the burial mounds and stuff, because I feel stuff. I can feel ancestors there. I can feel that. So sometimes you can see it left in the space. That's why they cover that stuff up and hide that stuff and all that stuff in the Grand Canyon. Okay, it might be some energy, linking going on. When you go back up, we start to go back in there. It's going to probably awaken some DNA memory. Okay, and start interfacing us back to our ancestors. So they got to hurry up and cover them places up and all that kind of stuff. It starts to make sense when we once we start learning things. Hey Tina, hey all my YouTube family and TikTok family. It started to really make sense. And now when you go back and read the book of Enoch, because this is what they're calling watchers, egregores are being called watchers. See how they playing with you in all this occult hidden language? If you don't sit down and read nothing, you're not gonna know nothing. That's why I tell people your mind got to be together when you go over here and start dealing with spirits. Your nervous system got to be together. You have to be aware of you. Self-awareness is important. Okay? Egregores were formed to watch over city states, the republic, and the empire itself. As long as an offering devotion continued, the prosperity and well-being of the city or empire was thought to be assured. However, if new cults came into being and the energies of worship were directed elsewhere, the agreement would be broken and the egregore would cease to support the land and its people. So when we disconnected from our land, we disconnected from everything, our spirituality and all that. That's disrupted I'm talking about you people of African diaspora, broke us from our ancestral egregore. Now, I think I heard somebody else talking about that. Was that Bobby Hemmett? Talking about this Kachina spirit. I talked about these elemental spirits that coat us when we start doing ceremonies outside. These ancestral egregores come over us. Santa looks after children for good bad behavior. They are pawns and a lot are part of the Castine Lodge. Okay. They are used to perpetuate and feed it. Yep, if you look at the history, they gate kept it from black men. I don't know what's going on there, but we definitely know what's going on here. And people have been trying to educate our folks about this Freemasonry stuff, but they don't listen. Okay? They don't listen. You got hoodoo. Your ancestors got a whole magical system over there. A whole magical system. Why would you be over there fooling with that? You got a whole magical mysteries that they copying what your ancestors created. You could turn that for good and start, doing it, direct that more at the community. Because what you're doing up under their flag like that, your allegiance, you have to turn your back on your ancestors, basically. When you commit to that lodge like that whole little thing. Okay? Esoterically, this can be seen as a reason for the collapse for the Roman Empire. When its old gods and goddesses were no longer sustained by the people, they in turn could no longer support Rome in its territories. In short, the spiritual death of Roman Empire can be seen in what Godwin terms the natural tolerance of polytheism. By accepting the new religious practices insofar as they did not challenge the governmental authority, a slow draining off of the energy from traditional cults and their attendant egregores began. But it doesn't end there. The real death stroke lay in the nature of the new religions. These mystery cults from Greece, Persia, Egypt, Palestine, and Syria offer something Roman religion did not did not personal salvation, or rather survival after death. Based on these metaphysical premises, Godwin suggests, and we agree, that for a city, a nation, or empire to exist, its devotees must be focused on life in the material world to some degree. So they got you caught up in the physical realm. They got you caught up with material stuff, feeding this egregore. That's how it exists. It has to live through these people. Okay. Hey, Gerald, I got your message, Gerald. I got you and Tina a message. I'm gonna look into it. Okay, white supremacy is the egregore, the Eve is Gregor of all. You I absolutely agree, masters of potion. This what these people, that's what we dealing with when we do not wrestle with flesh and blood. We are dealing with these spirits that's working through people. And I break this down to you when you get in our community. I instantly get you to getting in protection and defense mode and trying to get your mind together and your emotions together. So you can start seeing the stuff you do. Don't feel bad because I was caught up in it too. You get caught up in this matrix and you don't know what's going on with you and why you doing crazy stuff. Why you following the damn leader? And you know this that don't make no sense. Especially when you wake up from Christianity and you dismantle all the lies. I was so upset with myself. I said, I can't believe I believe half of that crap. Uh them people was telling me. Got a lady on TikTok right now. I don't even know if the woman was preaching about uh people's bedrooms, and they ain't got nothing to do with the Bible. And people listening to that saying amen and all that. I said, see how that just go crazy like that? She got members saying amen to that. And they ain't got that, and that none of what she's saying is in the Bible. A lot of what these people are doing, they are twisting and manipulating things is not in the Bible. That's what the dogma and doctrine come from. That's where the egregore, you know, is going renegade right there. Okay? Believe it blindly too without questioning none of it. Yep, misdirection, trying their best to keep us focused on the wrong stuff. Yeah. Okay. What Master the Potion say? I was listening, looking at Master Potion sitting there. Yeah. It's an egregore. I believe you too. Because the way them people act, it's gotta be, an organization that believes in something like that. Uh, and we're gonna get it because it's gonna talk about that too, Master Potion, as we move on. Although the term egregore is unique to the Western esoteric and occult practices, the ideas it embodies are not. In fact, they are widespread. In some form, they are the basis of all spiritual magical practices across the globe. So they're very aware that there's egregores. Christianity was created to help with the law and order so monarchs could keep control. It just can be just getting more and more insight. Is the picture getting clearer? Are you seeing now? This is what's going on here. Among the most powerful religious egregores in the world today are those of Islam and Buddhism. This is why you see America go crazy over Islam. I remember hearing somebody talk about that when we had got into it with one country. I forgot what country, but they were Muslim, and it was a pale face guy, and he was just all up in the uproar about it. You know, I had no problem with it because I got, family members. My father is a Muslim. I had no problem with them, and I like some of their teachings, the way they teach some of them. But this guy, he was so afraid. He was like, "Do you know how many it is? It's a lot of them. Oh my gosh! If they were to take over us in America, it would be horrible." I mean, he was just going on and on and on, and I was just like, "What?" But I didn't know how many Muslims it was until I went to Malaysia. When I visited Malaysia, I was like, "Oh my!" I had no idea that there were so many Muslims in Asia. There's a lot of Muslims in Asia. I had no idea until I visited here. And then when I started seeing all these Muslims, I was like, oh, that's what that guy was flipping out about. Okay. But there's a lot of Muslims over here in Asia. It tripped me out. Yes, they wear their hijab. Yeah. There's a lot over there. You think it's over there in the Middle East. No. Come to Malaysia. Yes. Come to Malaysia. You will be surprised. Okay, so let me go on. But Tibetan Buddhism is particular has provided us with the most potent glimpses of the ancient practice on organized and national level were into the 20th century. It also makes sense why our ancestors went into Hinduism. That makes sense why they went into Hinduism because it was some type of ancestral memory going on, tapping back into those most ancient spiritual practices. So it makes sense why Hinduism, you seeing it in Obeah, you seeing it in hoodoo, you seeing it in voodoo, you seeing it in Ifa. You know what I'm saying? You gonna find Hinduism up in there, I promise. You stay in them religions, some ATRs long enough, Hinduism, you gonna see something in there that's gonna be Hindu. Okay. So they tend to have, the most recorded herbal medicine, the most recorded accurate astrological knowledge. That's why you got to be reading, you got to be studying, and you follow them ancestors. There's no telling where they're gonna take you and start teaching you. Stop listening to people because people be lying. Okay, that's why I tell you that. You follow your ancestors, they're gonna feed your mind and your spirit. You're gonna get some wisdom in you. I promise you are. For some, the notion of egregore concern itself less with being influenced by angelic or demonic being, and more with being under the influence of once human and now fully perfected beings or masters. So what are they saying here? Remember, I told you in the lodge that they call the person of the lodge master, and they pray to him like he God. They have to do everything he say. Listen to this, because this is going you're gonna understand what I was telling you. Okay, you understand this? It says, these once masters said to be adepts of the occult arts and sciences, having now achieved the highest levels of spiritual illumination, guided humanity along the path of return. These beings were often given a variety of names, such as the unknown superiors, invisible masters, the great white brotherhood, or similar high sounding titles. Even a cursory examination demonstrates that this hierarchy of beings was little more than the occult version of saints in Christianity. So they're making the adept into an egregore, or he is embodying the egregore and leading the people in the organization. This goes into, and I'm just talking about, this goes even wider. Okay, you guys, it's not just to the secret societies, but it goes to organization. It goes into politics. It just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then that Epstein thing makes sense once you start looking at this. That Epstein thing really made sense. Y'all have to do this to women and children, whatever this egregore is, because y'all won't stop it. Are you sacrificing women and children, and you doing all this crazy crap to feed this egregore? Okay, let's move on. In fact, the depths of the invisible brotherhood, Rosicrucians, or otherwise, that guide Western students are often described as being beyond sect or creed. They are viewed as masters of all traditions and systems. So now we worshiping these men now. Now we worshiping the man. This what they get you. Got everything upside down. Golden Dawn egregore. So now we're going to talk about the Golden Dawn egregore. Everybody knows the Golden Dawn. You should know if you're in the occult, if you're spiritual, you've been in here for a long time, especially us that's been in here for a long time. We know Golden Dawn has to do was a theology or metaphysical society that Aleister Crowley was a part of. So was HPB, Helen Blavatsky. So they did a lot of spirit work, metaphysical work, came to a lot of spiritual discoveries in the Golden Dawn organization. This is when spiritualism started really taking, uh, it became popular in the Americas, the occultism and these secret societies. So those of you who have did your homework, you know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Golden Dawn. If you don't know, then I recommend that you do some research. Got some homework to do. Okay, the Golden Dawn egregores. According to the document, the etheric link. So now they're talking about the etheric link. They're making an etheric link when they go into these organizations and secret societies. Is the entire basis of the existence of the order. A member's relationship to the link takes place progressively over three stages. The first, which takes place in the outer order. So it reads: the neophyte is first introduced to the link, which results in a type of power surge in the aura, which expands the aura and heightens its density. It is seen by those present who are clairvoyant as shimmering green or blue light, depending on the degree of contact. In the four subsequent elemental grades that follow, the link established in the zero equals zero is the open up from the receive and impetus of energy tailored to and in empathy with the corporal elements. At this point, the aura must be continuously charged through ritual. So they up in there doing ritual. That's why they in the Freemason lodges like that. They Masonic lodge. They wear these certain things, these certain talismans or attire to bring on or open up this astral light. Believe me when I tell you this. Some of this stuff that you see that they have on, it has a sort of astral light that is linking them with this egregore, the attire and things like that. Y'all don't hear me though. I'm dropping gems on here. I'm just dropping it on you. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying to you. Hey Afro. At this point, the aura it must be continuously charged through ritual, practice, and meditation exercise, so that the power flows through the link and does not close or seal off, which it will do if left in the outer element grays for too long of a period. According to the document, if a member leaves or is expelled from the order at this point in their studies, the link will seal itself off, thereby severing the person from the psychic connection to the order. What I tell you what they doing up in there? Didn't I tell you they act like a hive mind? Same thing when you see in that with that Christianity, that stuff. Y'all understand what's going on with you. And then what's so hard for you to shake that religion? A lot of that is what's going on. This egregore is still got its hooks in you. You can also see that's too when you're seeing that gang stalking. I remember when I was being gang stalked, and this was totally spiritual. It's a difference when it's a difference when the government is gang stalking you, and when you see spirits jump from person to person gang stalking you through people. That's gang stalking. That's what some of the prophets was experiencing. You won't see when you see that. A good movie to watch. What was that movie that I watched with Denzel Washington? It was a Fallen. I think I posted that, and I think it kind of went viral on my TikTok channel. But I felt like I was stuck in the Twilight Zone. I was seeing this spirit. I said, "Oh my God, this spirit is jumping." Until you see that, you don't understand gang stalking. You don't understand gang stalking. The government and stuff, yeah, they got their own gang stalking system or whatever. But when you see them spirits jump through people like that, like they did in the Matrix, and they was just turning into Mr. Smith, until you see that yourself, you don't comprehend. You don't comprehend. I have no word. When I was in it, I was like, "What the hell am I seeing here?" I had to hurry up and get off that frequency. I had to hurry up and get out of that. I had to get out of that. Okay, until you see it for yourself, these different spirits jumping into people. That's the only way I can explain it. Is you go watch that movie Denzel Washington with Falling in it. It'll trip you out when you see it. Okay, it'll trip you out. The same spirit jumping in different people's bodies. I said, "What the hell am I looking at right here?" I ain't telling you no lie. And I know other people that experienced it too. Don't know these people from a can of paint. Ain't no one minute they acting one way, and then the next minute they acting like, it, saying the same stuff that somebody else just said to you. These people don't even know each other. And you know it's that spirit inside that person. And see, you ain't got your spiritual eyes open. That's why I look at people say you don't even know you don't know you sick and you don't know it. You ain't even paying attention to what's going on in your mind, your emotions. You're just doing stuff. That's why I tell you get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Okay? That's why I be telling you that. Figure out why you doing it. Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? Why I'm up? Why? You need to be saying why? Why now more than ever? Be asking why. Okay? It says it seals itself off. However, when the student enters the portal grade, their personal relationship with the link or the egregore of the order becomes more concrete and definitive. The document description of how the egregore operates psychically is very precise, as it is discussion on how and why egregore are formed. The link in its varying stages could be described as an astral tunnel of sorts, allowing access to certain regions of the astral plane where a contingency of astral entities govern their respective areas. The main theory is that if there are enough links to humankind, more energy is released to man to accomplish something of the great work. Now, didn't I tell you these people was harnessing your energy? When you running down here voting and being the man doing crazy stuff to piss you off and all that stuff. And I told you the other day, I think that man is using that to feed his magic. Didn't I tell you that? Remember me telling you that? They're doing that on purpose because they're feeding off your emotional loosh. This is real, you guys. This is real. Now, whether you want to believe that, these people already. Why would your administrators, your government, why would they be doing this if it wasn't real? It's real. It's very, very much real. They're telling you this right here. And Christians, you probably need to sit down and think about what you're doing. Think about what this crazy stuff you believe. You don't even know it. The main theory is that are enough links to humankind, more energy released to the man to accomplish something of the great work. Hence, when one obtains initiation with an order, these links are forged. They're up in there taking oaths and doing all sorts, saying all kind of raggedy stuff. Now, do they know it's raggedy? I don't know. I can't say I don't know if they know if it's raggedy or not, but it's raggedy because it's hurting other people. Some of the stuff that they're doing. Basically, this is a two-way communication. The astral entities need devotion to increase their own power in the astral. By having devotees send back, the impetus through devotion and worship, with the result being the energies of the two different worlds are received and converted, a type of perpetual motion that increases as long as both parties are willing to conform. And then y'all sitting up there uh supporting Israel, and they doing all sorts of raggedy stuff. They supposed to be over here in Thailand doing raggedy stuff over here, buying up stuff here, trying to change stuff in here in Thailand. Yes, there is some of these Israeli people are over here in Thailand doing raggedy stuff, and y'all supporting that raggedy stuff. And then what's his name? The boxer name, Mayweather man, boy. You need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet, cause your boy, you need to get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Talking about you support Israel. You need to sit down. These are the same pale faced people that enslaved your ancestors. You better sit yourself down and be quiet. I hope they making you do that and you ain't voluntarily opening your mouth like that. I hope them folks making you do that and you ain't doing that on your own. Because that's the only way I can see the ancestors forgiving you for doing something like that. And then they over here messing with these people. Your book already told you in that Bible, sitting there reading the Bible. That's what I said. You ain't reading that Bible because that Bible tells you, I know the ones who claim they're Jews, and truly they are the house of Satan. You ain't reading it. You can't be. Or you know that y'all serving something nefarious and you like it. It's the only way I can see that's happening there. I'm sorry, I'm just seeing y'all comment. What they call the head of the KKK, the Grand Wizard. Go on, Master Potion. The Grand Wizard. All these organizations have egregores. And what do they call the master of the KKK? Master Potion just said the Grand Wizard. That's why they made it illegal to talk about them. Bruh, it's some real, okay? I wasn't even gonna watch this stream tonight, but it auto played again. This is what I've gotta hear with all this wacky nonsense happening in my village. Okay, these egregores, they over nations, they over, you're gonna see them everywhere. And the thing that got me is the person. One person can control this. So what is the Pope doing over there? What did the Pope release the other day? What, a couple of months ago? The Jubilee, he claimed. The Jubilee, he claimed. What's going on? They know this real, you guys. This is real. You can put your head in the sand and say, I get it. They wrote about it. I didn't write about this. They wrote about this. I didn't write about this. They absolutely know. See how I tell you they be teaching us stuff that don't amount to a hill of beans. We have to get out of school and start educating ourselves to really get real wisdom and knowledge, because they ain't gonna tell you. And you be mad as hell when you find out, because you think to yourself, why the hell I didn't know this? How come somebody didn't teach me? Why y'all didn't teach us this? What about when the U.S. politicians went to Israel and they did a whole ceremony? This what they're doing. These egregores, they're very aware. Don't think they don't know. They know. These folks is telling you that they know. Okay, that Bible said up there and told you, don't be listening to them people. If you just read your Bible and try to just break things down in your Bible and not listen to your preacher, because they're gonna give you a doctrine, a whole bunch of lies. Okay, they trying to feed this thing. That's what they're gonna do. Tell you a whole bunch of lies. You need to sit down because there's wisdom in there if you sit down and read it yourself. And you don't need nobody hollering and telling you stuff. You need to be trying to get wisdom for yourself. Nobody need to be interpreting that for you and then giving you their messed up, raggedy perspective of it. All 200 people, all 200 politicians too. Look at that. They know what they doing. Okay, I think generational curses become the egregores when people perpetuate dishonest and abuse and silence. I look, I can't disagree with you, Black Magic Mike. Especially when you look at a karmic loop, when your ancestors are stuck in a karmic loop, it's almost to me the way I look at my family. It's almost like I can look at this two ways. It's almost like your ancestors are haunting them, trying to wake them up, but they don't know they being haunted. That I can look at it that way. And then I can look at it at the other way that, like Mike just said, because of all those negative thought forms and things like that, they have created an egregore that is wreaking havoc and is working through them. So it's two ways you can look at that. Hello, truth of the matter. Greetings and gratitude. Okay. There are a number of instances where adepts once in the second order find that through their astral abilities, they are attracted by entities to work areas other than the order. So when they leave here, he's saying that once they get in the second order, I don't know if that's a second degree, I don't know, but he says the second order. So now they got these spirits working with them. So now when your Freemason brother, sister, girlfriend, I don't know, they got these spirits carrying them. That's what I tell you when this preacher, Freemason preacher, is standing up in his church. What you think he got with him? Why you think your prayers and stuff ain't being answered? Why you think you sound and look more crazy and crazier and crazier the longer you in that church? Hi, new hero. What you think? He bringing spirits up in that. The woman called asking the milk for some milk for the baby. The preacher got on here not too long ago gonna try to justify that. Do you hear me? Are you looking at what's high, Michael? You see? Do you see what's going on here? And that thing is working through that man like that. I can see it when they sit up and do stuff because it doesn't make sense. It's crazy making. Just like the man, the orange head man over there now. Crazy making. Shouldn't even be over there. We are baffled by the fact that he's still standing up over there. It's the thing that's working through him. He don't even look human. Look at these people. Have y'all seen the Chinese phones? They throw the Wi-Fi to the phone and catch it. I haven't heard of that. Okay, they got many ways to throw off the Wi-Fi to the phone. I haven't seen that. Okay, so what you think what's happening when that preacher is getting up there and he'd have been up there, he'd have been in the lodge all week or whatever, and then he comes up here. He's been saying all this stuff, so don't tell me they ain't been saying. The people are sitting up here telling you what they're doing up in here. Okay, they're practicing ceremonial magic up in there. They're telling you this. Now, if they sitting up there telling you that they ain't, they telling a story. They ain't telling the truth. You're doing it because your members come right on out here and give us these nifty, lovely books that snitch on y'all. Thank you. Thank you for these nifty, lovely books that snitch on you on yourself. Cause you don't think we're gonna read it. I'm gonna read it though, cause I'm nosy. I want to see what you're doing. How do you talk? How do you break the connection of the egregores or dissolve it? Pay attention to your own minds and thoughts. That's why I get you over there and start getting your mind together. Start healing and stuff. Start healing and get your mind together. Doing that shadow work, dispel that stuff. Yeah, that's what you got to do. Become self-aware. Become self-aware and stop following people and doing what everybody else doing. Just because everybody else doing it don't mean it's right. Just like I told you, them people went to that concert and that they knew something was wrong. They knew something. They knew it feel weird and all that stuff. But they were so mesmerized and distracted with this projection. But they knew that this felt ominous. This felt off. It felt like something was going on. But they sat there and watched it. And what did they do? Participate in their ritual instead of them saying, I'm finna live out of here. I know what the hell going on here, but I'm gone. I'm not giving my energy to this. You're welcome, sweetie. I'm out of here. They sat there and watched it. Just like that, the Travis boy had that concert. That stuff look creepy as hell. Who want to go something like that? Look that creepy like that. But they go up in there anyway. Oh, they go up in there anyway. And what happened? Folks passing out. Don't nobody know what happened to them. This boy did a full ritual and ceremony right there in your face. And I already told you what these folks be doing, these celebrities in Hollywood. When they say they be acting, they be channeling. I told you that. They tell you that with their own mouth, but you think it's some type of play pretty. Okay? They told you that in Deliverance when Lee Daniels said they had to get a preach up there, folks dying and all this kind of stuff. They know what they doing. They doing ceremonies and rituals right there in your face. Doing something spiritual, and then when some spiritual happen to you, they gonna call you a lie. But they know it's real because you're doing it right there in front of our face. You channeling and everything. Dang, I almost missed this. I accidentally fell asleep. You okay, Raquel? You can always go back and watch it if you miss it, baby. Okay? You better get your mind together. Get your head out the sand. You know, right now, and we start feeling it during COVID because we had to sit down and stay self-aware. That's when people start figuring out something was going on with them. COVID was trying to wake us up because we had to sit down. We couldn't be talking to each other. We couldn't be doing none of that stuff. And people start realizing, hey, my mind ain't right. I got anxiety. It was trying to wake you up. COVID was thrusting us into a collective shadow work. Welcome, Aura Flame. New to your channel. Off topic. Do you use brick dust? I don't have brick dust, so I can't use it. If I had it, I would though. Okay. We don't wrestle with flesh and blood. You see these people, you look at people in a different way. That's why I tell my community over there, y'all read them books on cleansing. Put stuff down in your house. I was talking to my rent man the other day. Honey, he couldn't get past that threshold because I got a firewall of protection. No, I don't even want you coming in my house. He stopped himself. Okay? You start seeing your stuff work like that when you put your protection down, honey, you get more and more confident in your work. Put that stuff down. You'll see some people can't cross that threshold because you done put it down. Brick, dust, salt, whatever you got, use it. I don't want them things coming up in my house. I don't want them around me. Egregores are very important words of understanding spirituality. Okay? And you don't wrestle with flood. That's what I said. When you go outside, you around these people, get you some Florida water or soap. Get you something. If you got to use ammonia, vinegar, something, but you need to be doing something in between there. Okay? If you see how much energies we walk out into when we start being among people and stuff like that, honey, you see the spiritual dirt, you'll hurry up and keep yourself clean. I'm telling you now. Can only mental protections, HOA of my condo, only attack my statuses. See? You'll see them work through people. It's the oddest thing when you see it. Okay? And I'm not talking about, and you people would talk about gang stalking, they would talk about gang stalking like an organization or a person. But when you see a spirit do that, you have to see it for yourself. You won't believe it until you see it. Okay? I want to learn more about cleansing and hoodoo renouncing. Do you have any videos about this? I talk about that. We talk about that when I go over cleansing and psychic defense. You get all the materials on doing that. Yes, ma'am. We talk about that's one of the first thing you need to learn in hoodoo is protection. You don't need to be picking up no magic, nothing, 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 until you learn how to protect yourself and cleanse yourself. Until you perfect that, don't go on to nothing else. That's my suggestion. The shadow work really works for you. And trust me, it will open up the truth about things you can't imagine. Well said, Miss Penny. I need a firewall at my door. I do ring my bells whenever I come back into my house from being out. Denzel Washington said he didn't act as Malcolm X. He had a spirit that was Malcolm X in him. I told you. Did you go back and watch that? He channeled Malcolm X. He was Malcolm X in the movie Malcolm X. Denzel Washington was Malcolm X. That's what you'll understand. He was Malcolm X. You understand me? You'll be surprised what these people do. You might go up in their house and he have a whole altar to Malcolm X working with that energy. They said Tupac used to go in the studio and light candles and stuff that he was channeling. Art is spiritual. I don't care what art you're looking at, it's spiritual. When you can participate in art and you draw things, you're tapping into the astral realm. You're tapping into a realm no one can see. Okay? That man was Malcolm X. He was Malcolm X. If you listen to Tupac lyrics, he tell you how he want to be honored after he. Okay, there. Okay, that's not gonna be possible. They can try. They can try all they want to because nothing can replace that. Okay. He even tells people to meet him at the crossroads on the song "Hold Your Head Up." See, and you see a lot of our ancestors. You go back and look at our music. Some of our music, some especially the blues music, you see a lot of hoodoo, a lot of a spiritual heavy spiritual elements in it. I don't think that'll happen because someone had to create AI. AI wouldn't be here without a person. Okay, so let me go on here. It just gets more juicy. I'm trying to say I'm not yep. So keep some down at your house. See, this is why they tell you that we trying to help y'all, us spiritualists, when we telling y'all, we're the most informed and grounded ones. We telling y'all don't do that stuff until you do some protection and you know how to do some spiritual cleansing on yourself. And you need to have a regular regimen. I don't care what you got, vinegar, Epsom salt. You need to be doing something. Blues is healing. AI good at creating the blues. Ain't that something? Okay. In cases like this, guardians of the egregore have consented to accept them so they can progress to a certain level. Then another link is forged from the point that another set of entities or esoteric order. So they steady getting these spirits. They steady getting these spirits when they rank up. They're getting spirits. Same thing you see. I think that I don't know if the EFA process is like that. Let me not go there, but they're getting spirits in here. Girl, egregores, those are the new big gods. You hear me? All I got now is salt. That's good enough. I use sulfur soap on Sundays and to wash my body. I know that's right. Have you learned about the tuples? I'm looking at the tuples now. That's why magic. I've heard a little bit about the tuples. The tuples look a lot like the servitors to me. Okay, the tuples look a lot like They remind me more of the servitors, and I covered that yesterday. But yeah, I know about the tuples. Magic might, Black Magic might school me on that. Miss Penny, I have to say, you are the really spiritualist on YouTube. Thank you, Black Magic Mike. Okay, that's all you need. That's all you need, honey. That's use what you got. Our ancestors use what they got, and it worked too because they prayed on it and they put some intent that they meant on that. That's all that matters. Okay, you put your ashe on it, it's strong enough. You mean what you say when you put it down. Okay. Then another link is forged from the point another set of entities or the esoteric order. It must be remembered that even in the astral, there is certain amount of give and take. In the algebraic terminology, A must go through B to arrive at C. See how they're using the spiritual science in here, and how I broke down who to you. You have to do A, do B to get to C. It's just that simple. He's breaking it down to you. I have an all natural handmade soap that I make. It cleanses your aura and your body. New Hero is in there saying I got an aura soap. Anybody interested in aura soap? Okay, but you need to be. The tulpas are independent. Okay, the tulpa. Magic Mike said the tulpas are independent, so it works just like a servitor. Are they renegade? Did I hear that they kind of break off and they go renegade once they're created? They break off and go renegade. Seemed like I read that somewhere. Did I read? Am I understanding that wrong? Because if I'm not mistaken, they kind of go renegade. They go do stuff of their own. You're welcome, New Hero. They talk about this in the Supernatural show. Okay, and this stuff is real, you guys. Can't these people are talking about this? This ain't no conspiracy theory or nothing like this. You can go get this yourself. I just gave you the name of the book. Okay, this stuff is real. Nobody making this stuff up. And I'm reading it straight from the occult's mouth. These are his quotes. Okay. Look at Phyllis said, "No, you're not wrong. Some of them done." Okay. These are what these folks is right now. They saying it with their own mouth. Okay. Okay. So I got that right. Black man said I had that right. In the case like this, once the new link at C is formed, the old one B is closed, and a direct link from A to C is utilized. Okay. So now they're getting these spirits, they're closing themselves off from these spirits, and they're upgrading to these other spirits. You're seeing it, you seeing in Freemasons, the handshakes, all this stuff. I'm gonna give you an example. And y'all probably gonna get mad at me. I'm sorry. It's just my opinion. It don't mean to a hill of beans. It ain't got to mean nothing if you don't want it to, but this is just my opinion. Okay? Now you know that man, a Beyonce husband. To me, that man can't rap to me. Okay? I don't know why he at where he at. The only reason why you can be where you're at is you're in these private orders, these secret orders with these people. Cause that man can't rap to me. He not better than Tupac. He not better than Biggie. Um, I don't even know why he not smarter than Master P. He not better than Master P. He not better than Snoop Dogg. He ain't got none of that flavor. Not to me. He can't hold a candle to Biggie. Can't hold a candle to Tupac. Can't hold a candle to me, Master P. Um, I could just think of a variety DMX. I could think of a variety of other people that's better than him. I don't understand why he's there. Okay, somebody putting in there they secret. No, say they say he a Mason. That's a prime example of that. Okay, and all the people he had to cross to get where he's at now. That's usually how that works. Okay, In the article, Butler goes on to point out, as have previous authorities, that the fundamental nature of the egregore consists of collective emotions and that the thought form itself is amoral, taking its direction from those connected to it. Okay? So it would be easy for an adept or someone over the lodge to control these egregores when they're having these ceremonies. Because again, they are linking the members to the egregore. And this is not just with Western society. You can see this among a lot of cultures. That's why I have to look at some of these people that's in these ATR organizations. What y'all doing up in there? Why you getting mad like that? What's the matter with you? Why you trying to initiate people in there so much? Why you going straight to initiation and you ain't helping people? Why you doing that? I got questions. Cause you wasn't doing it at first. Why you doing it now? Why you initiating people in there like that? Huh? Answer my question. Why you keep on not wanting to teach people? Is you feeding some up in there? Huh? What you doing? Okay. I have to ask him. What is the book? The book is called Egregores, the Occult Entities That Watch Over Human Destiny by Mark Stavish. That's the name of the book. You can there's a variety of ways you can do that. Go look it up, Raquel. Go look it up. You got homework to do. Go look it up. Go look it up. You can find out yourself. You're very capable and smart and you can do it. Okay? I feel like I can tell when someone is in it, they can have a certain profile. They take on leadership positions and put themselves you're welcome, put themselves out there like upstanding citizens and are overly formal. Yeah. Yes, I don't like when they try to initiate people or knock on your door with pamphlets and stuff like that. I got to ask you that because you asked it, just like the Christian people, they just can't accept you being something else. When I see Muslim people, oh good, you Muslim. I know, I don't try to convert them people. I don't try to convert them people or none of that. Them people don't, they don't try to convert me. Why y'all so busy trying to convert people and then your God is the only God and if you ain't that religion, you going to hell. It's very ignorant. And some of y'all still doing this crazy stuff. Okay, you still doing this stuff. My God better than yours stuff. Ain't it the same God? Like if it ain't the same God, then what you serving? Because I was under the impression that all us was under the most high, the living God. I'm not talking about that one y'all keep putting on that cross and making an excuse not to fix yourself. I ain't talking about that one. Because apparently that can't be living if you keep putting him on that cross like that. Okay? Because ain't none of your behavior stop. Okay? And in our Bible, it says we serve a living God. A living God. Our God don't die. It's strange that you want to serve a God that dies and put him in a human form. And he's already said he's incomprehensible. You can't even say the name. Got look at those egregores. Somebody said I have a question about who the YT Christians and the mega church serve. Good question. Okay. You're welcome, Jay Z. Friends with performance artist Marina Abra. I seen her too. What's her name? Marina Apramovic, who is said is not to be an occultist, but she's do a lot of occultic things. That woman is, you know what that woman is, a black magic Mike. You sit up there looking at that woman. See how they think they can play with you? And you sitting up there seeing what that woman is doing and stuff. And boy, they playing with themselves because they ain't playing with me because I see what you sitting up there doing. Okay? We'll know what that woman doing. That woman is sitting up there doing stuff. Just like that other woman, Michelle looking woman, little short woman with dark hair. And she always have her fingertips stained. Michelle something. She's supposed to be rich. She be around Rihanna and all them folks. You know that woman. Something is going on with these folks. Okay, you already see what they putting down. Divine is positive, right? But the avarice is so rife. Is there anything in the building even? I don't know. I have a question. How can I know if I have a calling to learn and practice hoodoo? Huh. Is your ancestors moving you that way? If your ancestors is moving you that way, if your ancestors look like my ancestors and they moving you that way, that's how you know. Okay. Okay, will do. It was thinking maybe that I had a video of some oil powder that you sell that you could recommend. I don't sell nothing, baby. I used to. Okay. I don't I'm not making products now. I might get back into that later, but I haven't. Not making progress now that I'm in Thailand. I used to though. Yes, that's crazy looking lady at the fashion show. Yep, I have been gang stalked. Okay, and you gang stalked through spirits. It's the most craziest thing because the people have no idea that this spirit is talking to them. Go watch that movie Falling with Denzel Washington in it because that was my experience. I said, "What the hell going on?" It was the craziest thing. I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone. I was just quiet because I didn't know what I was seeing. I just didn't understand that until I started healing, and then I started reading about the prophets and how they were gang stalked. These spirits was gang stalking them through the people and stuff, and that's why a lot of them didn't stay in the community because the people was under these egregores. That's a lot of why the prophets and spiritual people, they didn't stay in town with people. They stayed afar from people, and they talked about how these prophets was being gang stalked, these spirits and stuff. Yes, there. I'm crowned child of your mind. Recently had the calling to initiate in hoodoo. There hoodoo don't have any initiation. Calling to There's no initiation in hoodoo. Them ancestors initiate you though. You start following those spirits, you're gonna be initiated. My dad once told me he met a mason and started questioning him, and a demon jumped out of the man and he became aggressive. Okay, thank you. I was seeing that too. It was another and I was watching that on that video, but I was tripping out because I was like, what's going on with him? One guy was asking this man on the video, he was like, is you a mason? And as soon as the man asked him that, it's like he braced himself to defend himself. And he was like, "Yeah, what you want to know about it? What you want to know about it? Why you asking? Why you asking?" I was like, "Why he just asked you a question? Why you getting so defensive? If y'all not doing nothing ragged up in there, why you getting mad? Why you already getting defensive like that?" That's how you know you're doing something ragged up in there. Because if y'all was doing something of the brotherhood that's good for the community, you wouldn't be acting like that. But you gotta protect and keep a whole bunch of raggedy secrets and stuff. So that's why you acting like that. Were you going through any difficulties in life when you were gang stalked? Yep, yep. I hear you up and got up off that frequency. Yep. I was going through some difficulties in my life. Yes, yes, yes. With my family and my husband. Yes, I was. Little did I know these people, these spirits was using these people to feed off my energy. The spirits know you too. The spirits know you. They will use your family. When I call spiritual warfare, that's spiritual warfare. They will work through your family. Your family have no idea that they're being used by spirits. I've seen it with my own eyes, but you don't know what you're looking at. You see people acting crazy and doing crazy stuff. I tell you, the most spiritual you get, the less human you feel. Because you start looking at what's going on with people. You don't want to be around a lot of people like that. God loves you. Please repent of your sin before it's too late. Janelle, why you in here? Are you trolling, baby? You need to repent where you at now, cause see, them people got y'all under egregore. You done came in here, didn't think about that. We sitting up here telling you what's going on with you. We telling you that your mind's sick and you over there in some sick stuff. And now you over here. Now that I'm telling people what's going on with them, you in here telling me to repent, and I'm telling you what's controlling your mind. Why would you do that? Why did you get in here and do that? Why are you so worried? What am I repenting from? From telling the people the truth? Now you done jumped in here. Something wrong with this. Did you think about that? What's the matter with you? Did you think about that? What am I repenting for? What are you repenting from? I haven't did anything wrong, so what am I repenting from? You don't think about that. You're regurgitating garbage. You need to update your computer. You didn't think about that. Think about that. What am I repenting from? You're under the influence of a egregore that got you taking communion, pretending like you're drinking blood and eating somebody's flesh. That's what your communion do. But I need to repent. But you over there practicing cannibalism. I gotta be, girl. I gotta be funny. You gotta make a joke of this. Can't take none of this serious because, honey, these people be trying to feed off your emotions. They be trying to trigger you. So you gotta make a joke of it. It's gotta be. Okay. Yeah, she in the wrong check tonight. You never think about that. You ever think about that? They be so gun ho, and then when they can't convert you, you going to hell. See how that God, but your God is a loving God. What kind of spirit y'all got over y'all like that? That ain't something going on there. That's why we breaking it down today, trying to help you get your mind right, so you can start questioning what you're thinking, what you're doing. Stop being impulsive and stop regurgitating garbage because they done told you repent of your sin and all this kind of stuff and all this kind of stuff. You got to lay up here now talking about people's bedrooms, talk about what they do in the bedroom, and she not gonna put her mouth here and he ain't gonna put her mouth. That ain't none of that in that Bible. But that woman sitting up there preaching it. None of that is in the Bible. None of that. And that lets me know that you need to go do some healing work. She need to go do. She's really got her wounds out there regular like that, talking about that, preaching about that, and none of that is in the Bible. And nobody told her to sit down and shut up. People are saying amen and stuff. You sure right, California 444. Miss Penny, make me a moderator so I can block these agents. Okay, you gonna have to show me how to do it, baby. I don't know how to do it. How to make you a moderator? I don't know how to do it, baby. You gonna have to show me how to do it. Add moderator. Okay, I'm doing it now. Okay, you a moderator now. I think I did it, baby. I feel like they're just in automated mode saying the same thing. I'm telling you, just like go back and look at Matrix. Them damn people turning in morphing because that's how they looked at me when they started doing that. I used to get mad and upset, but now I stop because I've done a lot of healing, and then I ask them because I gotta get it back on. I gotta give it back to them, and then I have to look at them and say, "What's the matter with you? What's wrong with you? Why would you come over here?" Because when you start asking them why, you start asking people why they do that. You're forcing them to think. You're forcing them to think. They either gonna get the hell away from you or tell you what the hell wrong with them. You gonna tell me why you did that? I want to know why you did that. What was in your mind to make you can come over here and do what you did? What was you thinking about? Most of them, I don't think they really know. That's why they get the hell away from you. They don't have an answer. Okay, that's why you have to start. Ask them why would you do that? I want to ask that lady. It's so bad. They sitting up there talking about people's bedroom. Ain't none of that in the Bible. Ain't nothing what she talking about in the Bible. None of this can be biblically proven about what a man. The God said, "Be fruitful and multiply." He didn't tell you how you do it. You can be as creative as you want to in your bedroom as long as you get the job done. He never told them how to be fruitful and multiply. He just said, "Go do it." You can be as creative as you want to in your bedroom as long as you get the job done. It didn't say none of that. What she talking about said none of that Bible. I want to ask her, where did you show me that? Nobody has stopped and asked that woman. Show me that in the Bible. Take me to the verse. Take me to the chapter. Where God said, don't put your mouth on your husband or your wife. Where he said that? Where did he say that at? Where in the Bible does it say? A lot of y'all following the church and none of what you're doing is in that Bible. Or they have misinterpreted and gave you their own meaning. Yeah, she doing her own remix, co-saying. It's, nobody stopped to ask her. Everybody in the church, amen, amen, amen. Y'all, that's why y'all can't. Don't be telling nobody nothing. Y'all, y'all don't even have a spiritual science. Christianity doesn't have a spiritual science. You have a whole bunch of ignorance, brainwashing going on over there. Because when we start holding y'all to the fire to explain, to help your stuff make sense, you get upset and then say we need to repent and we going to hell because we don't need to question God. Shit, you see what I'm saying? You was love the storyteller, especially if they become corrupt and power hungry in any form, for real. They just brainwashed. You know, I have to laugh at them. I used to get so mad at them. I used to get so mad at y'all, but now I see y'all, your mind is sick. Okay, well, we all got sick. I was sick too. Okay, and now I got to laugh at you because you don't slow down, and that's the only way I can stop myself from being triggered about you because you're doing crazy stuff and you don't sit there and think about it. Okay, if you go to messing with me, I'm gonna ask you why you're doing it because I'm gonna slow you down so you can think about what you're doing. That's the problem. You ain't thinking. You just doing stuff. But people still go to church with liars and weirdos. They do. Folks been assaulted in church, uh all sorts of things, abused. I can't tell you how many stories. I sat here and heard a man said his mama and his daddy trafficked him in the whole church organization. I didn't say congregation, I said organization. They were throwing parties and trafficking them to the church people. The story is so sad. His own father had, abused him. Then his mother started. Honey, I didn't have a lot of grace at first. First, they used to get on my nerves, honey. I used to talk about them bad. Until ancestors got on me and I started healing, you know. So I was there too. Mine just sick. And then too, you have to look at them too, you guys, instead of getting mad at them like that. Cause our mind been sick. We up under these crazy people. You see the crazy man over there now trying to keep our mind sick. Okay, he's stressing everybody out. Our anxiety is on 100. Okay, they trying to keep us sick. Okay, and our mind got sick, and we found out how sick we was during COVID because we didn't want to go back to them damn jobs and clock in. It was hard for them to get us to go after working at home and our own comfortability, and I have to worry with the stress of the supervisor and co-workers and stuff. It was hard for them to drag us back in them damn offices because y'all could have did this from the get-go, but you want to come here and drag people in these offices and mentally emotionally abuse people because that's what goes on in those old offices. And then they didn't really need you back in there. And then they made it mandatory. They made it mandatory here recently that you start coming back in there. Why? So y'all can have somebody to abuse. Yeah, I do readings. Y'all had somebody to abuse. You know them people can work from home, but we need you come to work. Why? So you can stand over them and pet your foot and have somebody to go off on. Y'all abusive in some of these offices. Some of these jobs, they abuse you. That's why I say it's got to be something spiritual going on at them jobs too. Y'all doing some type of stuff over there. I was hearing somebody saying Bank of America they doing all kinds of rituals and stuff. People putting their money at the bank. Okay, these people be doing this stuff. Now you can put your head in the sand and say I'm making stuff up if you want to. These people is writing about what they doing. Mandates are laws. It's social experimentation. It is spirit. It is spiritual for sure. Yes, ma'am. See, Aura Flame is saying it. Okay, you got a lot of these. A lot of us is walking. We know, and we try to wake some of you Christians and stuff up. You get mad. You got to ask yourself why you get mad. Why would you willingly want to stay stupid and ignorant? Why, why do I willingly want to stay stupid and ignorant? Why does the truth, facts, spiritual science threaten me? I do want to know the truth. I said I'm a seeker of knowledge. I do want wisdom. You got to ask yourself that. I don't willingly want to be ignorant and be mad. I'm mad because the folks had me ignorant and stupid. Got us reading stuff that don't mount to a hill of beans. I can't even go outside in the woods and survive because I don't know nothing about nothing out there. That pissed me off. Because if you left me where I was, I'd have been okay. You left my ancestors where we was, I would have known everything about the herbs. I would know how to build my own damn house. I would know how, but you disconnected us from all that to teach us what? Because we don't know nothing. As being stupid as he's I don't know, Gerald. I guess it is. I guess, man, all the time they cut us off for everything, cut us off from nature and everything, and then put us in houses and tell us we need a school, a university, a generic cosmic school. That's what you call them, a university, a generic cosmic school that you don't learn a damn thing. Programming, more programming. And then we be proud to go to these false generic cosmic schools. I went to a university. You you in school right now. Call a universe. Then go ahead and name the school after the cosmic school. Have y'all ever put that together? You go there and don't learn a damn thing. Okay? Don't learn nothing. They just cheated us. You ought to be mad too. As a human, you ain't even got to be my color. As a human, upon these people, you should be mad the way they just sit there and play with our mind. Okay? As just anybody, because they sit there and just cut you off from the natural medicine, from the trees, from the sky. Got you sitting up in this house. I call this Earth School. It's also a simulation too. Got to learn energy frequency. Yep, and that's what people have to learn. That's why I tell you, following people. Hey, baby, it ain't gonna get it. You gonna have to be talking to them ancestors and their spirits because they know stuff that you don't know. You can't even wrap your mind around. Okay, people try. We try the best we can, but people, the fact of the matter, we are flawed. Okay, we are flawed. I wouldn't want to trust no other human like that. Okay, because a lot of us is caught up in this material matrix like that. From the inner point of view, we may see it as a composite of thought form charged with emotional energy. This energy is evoked from all those who are linked with the thought form. And if there are those in the group who know something of the psychic mechanism involved, it can be directed upon the chosen target. So they can take this psychic energy. Remember that when we started watching The Craft, and remember she wasn't wanting to do some of the stuff they was wanting to do, and how they started psychically attacking her. They can do that in these covens and organizations. I've heard people that try to they find out that they have a lot of stuff in their bloodline from Freemasonry. They go to cut the cord. and they start doing some deliverance work on it. And these people, they don't even know, come from somewhere else, come to their house and arrest them because they can feel that psychic link being eliminated. I've been needed the correct spelling of the word. It's going on my wall. I love you, Auntie Ashe. You welcome, sweetie. Okay. Okay, let's go on. They can do that. They have the power to do that. When you start again, because these are psychic links, and they're all linked in to this egregore, and they're all powering it and drawing power from the egregore. This is what they doing up in there. Now they lying. They telling you they ain't doing that. They sit up here writing about it, not making it up. I do believe I feel that I get a tech here in Austin. It's a whole coven, a witch coven here. I definitely need. Okay. Thank you for teaching. You're welcome. Hey, stay up. Of my game here. Keep up. Myself protected. Yes. And you can feel that over America. I don't see how y'all don't feel it. I had to get the hell out of there. I had to get the hell out of there. And it trips me out when I talk to people from the States. I still have to call over there and take care of business. And when I tell them where I'm at, I have a lot of them say, "Why did you leave? Are you okay? Why did you leave?" I said, "No, are you okay? And why are you still there? What the hell wrong with you? Like you, boy, y'all in the middle of a fire right now. Your house is on fire, and you gonna ask me why did I save myself? You ask me why I saved myself because I don't want to be in a burning damn house. I don't want to be there when when it burned down. The people on the phone will ask me that, and of course, a lot of them don't look like me. It trips me out when they don't look like me. Did you vote for the orange head man? Is that why you asking me that? Well, you must have voted for that. Because I didn't. And I'm not gonna stay in no burning house. This house is about to burn down. And you can feel that spirit over that country. You feel it. And he makes sure you feel it because he's sitting up there doing stupid stuff trying to feed that thing. Okay? So and look at the Israel. You got to ask too, what kind of egregore? I think somebody just asked that question. What kind of egregore is over Israel? That they have to unalive children and stuff like that and be crazy like they is. And then what kind of egregore are we feeding by supporting this stuff? Even the religion is supporting that regular stuff that they doing. What egregore? What are we feeding here? See, we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. We talking about these spirits. Why are you doing that? Because you know them people's doing regular stuff to these people. They even coming over here messing with these Thai people. Ain't nobody bothering these people. And you talking about they God's people. These people, they boy, so far from God. I got I got more God in my pinky finger than they do in that whole country. I got more God in my pinky finger than they do in that whole country. What kind of God is they serving? And sit there and unalive these children and women and children like this. Is you crazy? And then the religion sitting up talking about we were Israel. Y'all just like them people. And if it was a hell that y'all talked about, y'all gonna be in it with these people. Something matter with you. What's the hell wrong with y'all? We sitting up sending these starving children and women and stuff like that. Then it's just go on and on. Now you tell me, you ask me, men, you need to sit. Patriarchs, you need to sit down because you wreaking havoc. You have destroyed the spiritual science of the divine feminine, and now it is raggedy. You started off with warlock. You took our spiritual science and you blasphemed it and wreaking havoc on women and children. There was a beautiful spiritual science, but no, you had to make it raggedy. You had to water it down and make it raggedy. That's why shit going to hell because they can't spill our blood like they did during the slavery. Okay, honey. Whatever it is heavy. You sit there and feel it. You sit up there watching it. What's going over there now? What is he doing? He trying to starve people, right? He trying to start a famine. They got elemental egregores. That's one of those elemental egregores, or was it a tuple that Moses used in Egypt when he started those famines and things like that. They have elemental egregores. People make artificial elemental egregores to wreak havoc on humanity. Yep, heaven and hell is in your mind. That's if it was such thing as a hell. If it was a such thing as a hell, the Israel people would be in it, and so would the Christian people. If it was a real hell, they'll be in it. Okay. And look at Carter Lewis. It's a very heavy, huge spirit. He's letting, because what he's trying to do, start a famine. What he trying to do? He don't want you to be able to. He start again. He is promoting poverty. Hi, God is 314. Look at what's going on there. That's letting you know what type of energy the egregore needs to be strong. What do? They always try to keep you in a state of survival and fear with the stuff. Now, why are you hiring these ICE people to do regular stuff? You got people over there that ain't even qualified to be arresting nobody. Why are you doing that? And you know these people, and then you arresting people that you know that's from the United States, they citizens. Why is you bothering them people like that? Why are you disrupting? Why are you doing that? What are you getting out of this? What is this doing for you? I can see if you know they ain't from here, but these people, you can absolutely see that they are from here, and you're gonna waste all types of money and stuff doing this crazy stuff. People homeless, I mean, it's just a waste of resources, and then accuse somebody else of wasting resources, and you're wasting them. You see the sickness, and it further let you know how sick he is because of the people who supported this crap. Just sick minds. I don't want them people standing nowhere next to me. You need to get yourself together. That was another thing scary too for me in America, because I'm like, I don't know who the hell I'm standing next to that got a sick ass mind like him. So that's scary for me. I don't know if they're gonna wake up and want to do a purge. Is he gonna bring in a purge? Cause he got that type of purge vibe. I left in April, March or April. Okay, and then people and people, I don't know. It's just scary. You know, and that's just my perspective. When you spiritual, the way we see things sometimes people don't really understand. And I have seen things sometimes and people don't get it. And then when it come to pass and people look at me and say, "How do you know?" And then I be trying to explain it and they just be like, "I don't get it." So I'm not gonna try to explain that. I can't, because even if I did, you probably wouldn't get it. Looking why the friend Looking why the friend of his got trillions of dollars approved. I've been putting on two and two together. I get it. A lot of witches said he's heavily protected. That's why he can't be touched in the spiritual realm. He's doing something. He's feeding something. He's in contact with something that even that is running short. I say that because of his health problems. Whatever this thing is, you know, he's got to feed it because and it's again, it's drawing off the energy of the people. Okay. He has to agitate people. I think that's why, because some things he does say, why are you doing that? Because you know this gonna piss people off. Just like there was some type of protest going on, and he got ticked off and he went to Twitter, and I think that was him. He made this post of this airplane with him, this airplane dropping poop on everybody. I'm like, why would you do that? The immaturity, that's how you could tell something going on with that man. Okay, something is going on. It's something that they feed. They have to get the emotional loose from us. Same thing with voting. You run down there and vote. You really, and I know y'all believe this stuff. You run down there and vote. These people are harnessing your energy through the ritual of voting to feed the egregore, and they're going to choose who they want to choose. That stuff, no, it doesn't work. Run down there voting and all this, that doesn't work. Not like that. The way they have set that up, and then you get pissed off because that ain't even the person you voted for. Look who you got. And a lot of us, we know dang on well we didn't vote for that orange haired man, but we sit up here looking at him. They harnessing your energy all the time, harnessing your energy. All the time they are harnessing our energy. If they're asking you to go out and do something crazy, do all that voting, all that rigmarole, and then you're gonna get people to run around when they vote, you're gonna mess with polls and all that stuff. Why are you asking them to do that? Why are you doing that? And you know it ain't gonna fix nothing. Why should I vote for you to fix something, to do something for humans that you're supposed to be doing? Why we gotta vote on this? Why are we doing? How come you just can't just simply do the right thing? And the Democrats and Republicans is two sides of the same coin. They just make you think you got a choice. You ain't got no damn choice. You can believe that if you want to. Okay. I challenge you to ask yourself, when have they did anything right by you? When have your government did something absolutely right or even really cared about you? I will wait. When have they actually did something for you that's gonna work for you? That cares about you, your finances, all that stuff. They care about businesses. They don't care about people. They already let you know that they care about business. And it don't make no sense because your business ain't gonna get no money if everybody broke. So what good does it do you to have these corporations? Because we ain't got no damn money to spend in there. Does no good to do what do they call that? A minimum wage raise when you gonna jack up the food. When you need to tell people when they get them that food need to stay the same. So it's like we never close the gap because these people they raise the food when we get them a minimum wage, just like you didn't get one, because now everything up. Instead of you making these people say, "Hey, don't price gouge them when they get a raise. This food has to stay at this price." Don't do that. Essential needs shouldn't be over a certain amount. Yep, a lot of the food poison. Hell, they've been saying we've been eating people over there. They say a lot of the meat over there is people in there. I don't know. We've been eating each other. That's what they say. In these restaurants, they got that. They said that's what they got. Okay. I don't put none past these people. Why would you do that? Why would you think that would like? Did you see what they did to our ancestors? You're talking about the same people that unalive righteous people. Our ancestors was righteous. These folks don't know number one righteous. You talk and you think they're gonna do something right? Are you crazy? Ain't nowhere in the hell. I know that. I know better than that. If our ancestors didn't trust them, why the hell should you? We're talking about the same people would sit down and have picnics while people hung from trees. Are you crazy? They had postcards and stuff of this stuff. You see how sick that is? And you think these people gonna do something right? Something wrong with us. Our mind is sick. Our mind is sick. That's why I said your mind sick. You don't know what you're doing. Your ancestors knew this though. Our ancestors, they you ain't have to tell them. You ain't have to tell black people either what was gonna happen when that man got in there. We already know. DNA memory. We already know. Mm-hmm. Look at Ashton said there's no new graveyards or cemetery, but it's always new condos. Just something to think about. Our ancestors, you better listen to them. That's why we go through them books over there. I want you to see what they was talking about. You need to read Black Magic Religion, folk and our conjure magic. Okay, you need to read Africans and African slave medicine, African American slave medicine. You need to read that. And people think hoodoo it's just this. You burn this candle. What are you talking about? Hoodoo was saving your whole family. What are you talking about? Hoodoo was saving our ancestors' life. And you gonna what? Girl, you better get boy, you better get somewhere and sit down. This is more than a spell. What you talking about? People was healing themselves. They was healing their whole life. They couldn't even go, they was scared to go to the doctors. They had to have a relationship with the land, with the plants, and grow their own food. Lord forbid they had to go to them people for anything. Yeah, even in the protest, them people ain't protesting. Them people out there having a party. Cause they ain't what our ancestors did with protests. If they ain't got no dogs and no fire hydrants out on you, then you ain't protesting. If it's fun to you, you ain't protesting. You out there having a party, so you're playing with yourself. And stop asking us to come out there. I'm telling you, I don't believe nothing they say. I had to tell somebody that one time. I said, "Do you actually believe a person that did your ancestors like that would care about you like that? Do you believe that?" I'm very shocked how much faith people have in this system. These are the same ancestors that unalived our ancestors who were righteous. You know how they Martin Luther King did not pass away from being assassinated. No, no, no. He was unalived by the doctors in the hospital. What's wrong with you? What's the matter with you? He would have lived. That's what I'm telling you. The hell? And you actually believe these people gonna care something about you? And they just show time after time they raggedy and raggedy and raggedy, and now they trying to fix something because they got these pretendians. And no, them folks don't look nothing like no indigenous Americans. But you've been giving them government funding, and now you want to kick them out. And then they mad. And you know damn well you ain't no indigenous American. You look like you come from Europe somewhere, Scott, Scotland, something like that. You don't look like you from. Get somewhere and sit down. Okay, but y'all let that stuff go on so long now. You can't tell these folks nothing now. They mad because you let it go on so long. I don't think they know. I think that their ancestors allowed them to believe it. Yeah, they don't know. Some of them don't even know. They really believe that they're Digi American. We sitting up here looking at them saying, "No, you ain't." You look. Have you looked at yourself? None of y'all. We can go back to y'all fourth generation. None of y'all are dark. I'm going back. I don't care what they say. If you telling me that you indigenous American, I don't see no brown stuff going on with you. I should see some brown in you. There should be some type of brown something going on with you. Most indigenous people are brown, dark skinned people. They dark skinned. Okay, there's some brown going on. I don't see that going on. Somebody up in there should be your great somebody. Everybody you showing me don't ain't brown. They don't look like they ever was in that. Even when you go back and look at some the folks in ages, their ancestors look dark and darker. The further you go back, we look at y'all stuff, it's not happening like that. We're gonna look at these people, they ain't getting darker. Every indigenous person I know, they dark. Everything started out dark. This light stuff didn't come later. If you had been on the planet, I say 100,000 years ago, you'd seen a whole bunch of brown, dark skinned people. So dark they look like they blue or green. This new stuff, lightened up stuff, that stuff didn't come later. So when I try to get you to understand that when we are talking about people, I need you to have this in your mind. When we talk about ancient people, the ancestors had to tell me that when they're talking about ancient people, baby, no matter what they're showing you, these people look like you. You're gonna have to put that in your mind. Just like they come up here with these false movies about Egyptians and making them people look like that. Well, you know damn well them people didn't look like that. So why are you doing that? These people were dark. They know that. They play these parts and stuff to confuse you. These, as I said, baby, don't let that fool you. These people were dark. Wasn't that many people like that on the earth like that. Not light skinned like that. Okay? I don't care what they telling you. That's I have to get you to understanding that once you start looking at these saints and start looking at these angels, why you think Russia got all these black pictures of Christianity? Because that's how those angels really looked. Okay? Until it got over here and folks started whitewashing and gender washing stuff. Okay, a lot of colonizing going on, so I have to get you to understanding that. Okay, it is obvious that such energy can be used for good or evil purposes. The intention of those who manipulate the energy within the collective thought form determining way it is directed. So a person can direct this energy, just like I told you. Thank you, Amber, the sun goddess. So a person, like I told you, you have a master in this lodge, and they are praying to him. They got to do everything this master said, because now he's the master of the lodge. He is the adept. He's over the lodge. Okay, so he's directing these energy. He's the master of the ceremonies. He's directing the energy and linking a lot of these spirits to these people. Why do you think people love Aleister Crowley so much? He would be one of those masters. He would be what you call an adept. And who like him? Jay-Z love him. Jay-Z, see these folks, they get up in this stuff and they forget all about their ancestors. Your ancestors didn't want you in there. You had hoodoo. But then hoodoo got in the church. And then some of our ancestors, they didn't want us to go into blues and music because they knew a lot of these people was doing this stuff. A lot of our ancestors, we didn't know why our ancestors didn't want us in they would call it worldly music and stuff like that. But our ancestors knew that these people was doing stuff, and they knew uh how you they can contaminate our music. They knew a lot of this stuff. We didn't know what they was talking about. Let's say that worldly music, and they putting stuff in there. That's just like hip hop. Hip hop turned out it was supposed to be positive. It was waking the community up. It was teaching us. And then what they do, them Jews or whatever you want to call them, I probably don't need to be saying that, but they came right in there, took over that industry, and turned it into trap music. Start using it to influence the youth so they can build these jail houses and put people in jail. On this question, are white people magic stronger than ours, or is that why they are on top? No, they do a lot of witchcraft. Look how they got on top. It takes dark psychology to put them on top. They use dark psychology, gaslighting. That's what they're doing. They're messing with your mind. No, they're not stronger with you. They're just better manipulators. And they're using dark magic. That's why that's why you see a high percentage of narcissism. They have to change stuff. and lie to you. That's just like when we tell them, I'm gonna use it for an example. Hip hop did turn into trash. It did. It was something beautiful until these regular people came in there and started messing it up. What made you move to Thailand? Hey, I didn't want to be in a house that was burning up over there. Okay, I saw what was coming. Ancestors showed me what was coming when I saw that. So I was like, I'm tired. I'm trying to heal. I just can't do it no more. It's stressing me out. What was I saying? I was asking that question. Yeah, it's another thing when you ask them, and they know that now that Bible sit there and tell you that their Jesus, the way they are explaining Jesus in that Bible, is telling you there was a black man without a shadow of a doubt. It's telling you that Jesus is a black man with woolly hair and dark skin, describing him to a T to being dark. When you ask, usually when you ask people what color was he, especially if they are pale face people, you know the thing they're gonna tell you? It's the crazy shit. This how they be playing with your mind. He was olive color. He was Middle Eastern. Is that a color? Is Middle Eastern a color? They never go to the Bible, look at the Bible. They're gonna tell you what it is. He either with olives. I've seen a black olive and a green olive. Which one was it? So was he green? So you trying to say Jesus was green? You saying your Bible describing him as green? And then when you tell them, or show them in the scripture that he is describing himself to be a black man. Oh, it don't matter. Well, if it didn't matter, why you sit up here gaslighting and shit? Why are you doing that? Why are you gaslighting? Why are you messing with people's minds like that? It's like y'all programmed to do that. You sick too. Because you let that stupid stuff come out your mouth and you know damn well in that Bible this is painting him to be black. And you will sit up there and say he olive color. Why are you doing that? If it didn't matter, why you calling him something else? Why you see it in here and you don't want to say it? Something the matter with you. See, that's why I can't be around some gone, someone going. Y'all have y'all work to do too. You got to ask yourself why you keep doing that. Why do you do that? Why you gaslighting? That's why I say you don't. You need to be in your own space. Okay, I can't deal with it. I just can't. And y'all, the way y'all think has caused mental illness in our community. And I'm sitting up here trying to help my people unpack this stuff. You have created mental. We got low self-esteem. We code switch. We got to talk like this for you and then act like this over. No, I am freaking tired of that. Okay, why do you do that? It don't make no sense. They would tell you that he's olive colored. See what I'm saying? No, their magic is not better than ours. They're just good at gaslighting and helping you believe they lie. They're good at illusions. They had to do a lot of whitewashing and a whole bunch of lying and manipulating and unaliving righteous people to keep this stuff up. So the magic can't be that good because you got to put your hands on people. You know what our ancestors did? They didn't have to put their hands on them. They opened up their mouth and they putting folks on their damn back. Now that's power. Now you tell me who got power. Our ancestors didn't have to put their hands on it. All they had to do was walk up to the altar and put them on their back. Then they get scared. Then now they want to outlaw your stuff. Now you tell me who magic more powerful. Now their magic ain't more powerful than yours. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It ain't enough of us practicing it. That's the problem. Too many of us sleep. Need to be more of us practicing it. Is that why they are trying to destroy us? They don't want you coming together. If you was to get together and start doing what Haiti did, That's all I'm saying. If you would get together and start calling on your ancestors like Haiti did, you'll see how powerful your magic is. But we too busy chucking and jiving and distracted by other stuff. Okay? No, they magic ain't more powerful than ours. Never been, never will be. Everything they learn from you. I have to keep telling you that. Okay? You put people on their back. Why you think them folks they running over there? You got them people running over there initiating in Ifa, voodoo, and everything. They running over there to you. I got them in my box. Some of them want to be in hoodoo, and I have to tell them, now, baby, you got your own stuff. You need to go over there and heal and use your own stuff. It ain't because it work. It's because it absolutely do work. Why you think they calling it evil and stuff? Trying to keep you away from it. It ain't because it work. It's because it worked. Okay? They coming over there to see how they studying your stuff to get their stuff working. They wouldn't know what they know without studying you. That's why they had to steal it. They went up in Egypt and stole all that stuff. Okay? And it's certain stuff they can't do. That they have to go right on there with that to E for voodoo and learn. Nothing is better than the original. You might get knockoffs, a generic brand. I don't care what they call themselves, but I'm the original. I don't care what you call yourself. That's why I look at your stuff and I can take it all the way back to where it come from our ancestors. And matter of fact, they can't open up their mouth without talking about our ancestors when it comes to this spiritual science. So you tell me what it is. No, they're not more powerful for us. They can tell better lies. They are more violent than us. That's their edge. Okay. Now they more powerful for you, and them folks scared of you. They so scared of you. They had your ancestors' mouth closed shut because when they said something, they was laying people on their back. Shut their mouth. Put something in their mouth. Don't let them talk. Every time they talk, people die. Oh, don't put them next to each other. They get to singing and humming and stuff start moving and shaking. Don't let them talk in their own language because they more powerful like that. Don't let them pray to their own God and take them drums away from them. But when the drums happen, stuff starts shaking and moving and stuff. Oh, it absolutely work. You just don't know it work. And they want to keep it like that. They put it in their little fancy books that we don't open up. But they know it work. Why you think they so focused on you? I ain't never seen a group of people, the whole world focused, obsessed with black people. Dance like us, talk like us, dress like us. What's wrong with you? Ain't nobody got no magic like that. Okay? Nah, it ain't better than your ancestors. And don't you think that either. Okay? They ain't stronger than you. They just better lies and they more violent than you. That's all that is. Your ancestors righteous. They didn't believe in murderous. They had them type of hearts. Okay? They believe in peace and love. Then they had to get into justice work and start laying people on their back. They talking about this guy, what this guy was doing, but they steady putting hands on on somebody. But none of them open up their mouth and prayed and got stuff done. Our ancestors open up their mouth and stuff start moving. I ain't see none of them doing that. All of them putting their hands on people, talking about what God told them to do. Okay, so now they ain't more powerful for you. Don't you ever think that? Can't nobody be more powerful for you. They got to put their hands on you. Okay. I allow all musical instruments here in Africa because we use them to evoke our ancestors. See, they know. Okay, them folks know. But you think that, hun? They don't like you. They scared of you because it absolutely works. That's why they had to get us all brainwashed with that Christian stuff and all that crazy stuff and to get our mind sick. Okay, they had to do that first. Then took hoodoo out the church and then got the men ministers got them in the Freemasonry, messing them all up too. Okay, when hoodoo should have stayed strong in the church, and a lot of these men should have stayed country men instead of good jumping over there in Freemason. Hoodoo was enough. Your ancestors created that magic for you. Why you reaching for something else? Something that's raggedy. Okay, All praise to the most beloved, elevated ancestors. I know that's right, Raquel. As a general rule, the thought form is built around some person or group of person, and a number admitted increase. So the power and the range of the egregore increases, and a peculiar reciprocal action takes place. Each member of the group pours energy into the collective thought form, but equally into each member. There are also passes the influence of the group as a whole. This reverse action brings to light certain problems. So they again, they're steady recycling this energy, and it's steady manifesting in different ways with people. That's why you got some of these church members that can't get along. They're into it or whatever, or psychic information is being divulged that for to people that don't really need to know. You got all this stuff going on when people are up under these egregores. This is real. There's something that y'all gonna preach about something in church. You better be putting some spiritual science in there and stop perpetuating that ignorance like that. Because some people around there are spiritually hungry and they starving. They walking just some walking zombies around there. You don't teach them nothing but a whole bunch of rigmarole stuff that don't mount to a hill of beans that God didn't even say, ain't even concerned about. Okay, or the egregores that up under people, because you'll see that too when they talked about how in the Americas, when the indigenous population used to get together there, it was this energy that coated them when they did rituals outside, and it's called the kachina. You can see this into among African diaspora in voodoo. What are they doing? They're doing the rituals outside. So when they're being coated with a elemental ancestral egregores. How they explained it is our ancestors are intertwined with nature. So when we start doing rituals and stuff outside, those rituals energize them and they can come into the ritual and assist us better. That's what happens too when we start beating the drum. Okay, we calling them spirits up from the earth. So they didn't want you, that's why they kept that from you. But there are positive egregores as well. It automatically happens when we all get together. It's nothing we have to think. Once we start getting together on one accord, again, the egregore gets powerful and more powerful. And it comes in on the ceremony. Egregores can be a story you believe in and commit to. Yep. Cause see, when they telling you about these demons and stuff, when they got to telling you about that stuff, they were programming to put demons in your consciousness. They programmed to put hell in your consciousness, so now hell is real. When they sit up telling you stuff like that, they giving you the program. You don't realize you get that's why some people they get over in hoodoo, they so scared to do anything because they still got that in their consciousness. They have to decolonize that and get that out. Just like our ancestors programmed us with High John the Conqueror. Now High John the Conqueror is a saint and a spirit among hoodoo practitioners. He's real now, even though he's a herb, but now they personified him and made him real. So now he's a spirit. They gave that to us when they was telling us stories. They gave you the archetype so you can program it. You'll have it there in your consciousness, so you can go back to it and access it if you needed to or wanted to. Okay, and they doing the same thing at church when they giving you this hell and they giving you these demons and all this stuff like this. They're giving you a program. This there again. Think of your mind like a computer, and everything they're telling you, they're trying to get it downloaded in your subconscious so they can control you. That's the only way the program comes in, if they repeat it to you. That's why you'll see that thing with 9/11. They kept repeating it over and over again. Now we know that didn't sound right, but they kept repeating it again so your mind it will accept the programming. That's why they repeat a whole bunch of that junk in church for the programming. That's why you have a government. They're meant to govern your mind. Everything is about programming your mind when you start looking at it from that perspective. Okay? So that's what they're doing. They're programming you with that. Now we have to ask with this Jesus too, because when you see this Jesus come on the scene, the same way they have set this Jesus, they had a cult that was sort of like this, the way they set it up. So I have to ask, is this thing an egregore? Did y'all put an egregore in there? Because y'all was already doing this type of ritual thing before this Jesus came on the scene. And is y'all using that as a cover for the deeper rituals y'all was already doing? Because this ain't looking right. And then too, I'm just taken back, because now you're drinking the blood and eating the flesh. Now, what kind of religion is this? Then what kind of religion that's gonna promote the unalive and of women and children? What kind of religion is that? I don't want to be in nothing like that. I thought y'all had a God of love and peaceful God. What's happening here? Okay, so we have to ask ourselves these questions. For many people, this is something they actually seek. They may feel inadequate in everyday world and feel by being linked in this way, they are protected from what they see as aggressive tendencies from other people. Or again, they may feel inadequate to deal with new ideas and situations and feel that the group mind will do their thinking for them and they will not be in danger of wrong thinking. So a lot of people over there in Christianity, they know it's wrong. They know it ain't right. But I might as well stay over here because there's so many other wrong people over here. Let's be wrong together. Or I don't want to think for myself. I want somebody to lead me. See how they lead me? I tell y'all, don't just be following stuff blindly. Question things. You just want to be led. You just want somebody. That's where they're gonna get you. People have found themselves in cults and hurt doing that. Okay. Book tip: Emily Durkheim and the birth of NOF, the gods. Okay. Thanks, Black Magic Mike. You just following stuff. Some people comfortable that they know they ain't right. Okay, that's just like that boy Derek, whatever his name is, had a fur on his wife. The poor child, and that poor child, mine, bless her mind. This man had made money, built his business on telling women how to date and all this other stuff, and then go do some regular stuff like that to his wife. Did people hold him to the fire and stop following him? No, 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 no. They even women kept following this damn man after he destroyed his whole family with that crazy stuff. Okay, they just follow people blindly like that. It's just like the orange haired man now, and them people that was under him, they knew that man was raggedy doing crazy stuff. Oh yeah, him and Elon Musk, they was friends and stuff at first until it started turning on him, and now he got a problem with it. But you knew that man was raggedy from the beginning. Okay, both these tendencies are unhealthy, but they are also common, most particularly in the occult, religious, or semi-religious circles. Indeed, where the mental and psychic condition justifies such domination by the collective group mind for a limited period, such dependence upon the egregore may even be remedial. But it but any organization which makes such dependence mandatory upon all its members is treading dangerous and slippery path and will sooner or later come to grief. That's what that's gonna get you. You keep following people like they get, just jumping in stuff, following stuff blindly, not questioning things, especially you Christians. You just do things that don't make sense to me. And now that a lot of us are awake, we force y'all to think, and that threatens you. And instead of thinking, wait a minute, they making me think. Let me think about this. You start rebuking people in the name of Jesus, so you can stay stupid and ignorant. So your mind, I'm gonna use another phrase. I ain't gonna use it no more, ancestors. So your mind can stay sick. That's what's going on. Your mind's sick. There's no critical thinking and nothing going on there. Instead of questioning what's going on, you're gonna rebuke it in the name of Jesus. And you know that stuff don't make sense. If you question yourself, why you drinking this blood and eating flesh like that? If you have you just really questioned that? And then have you questioned too? Do you really want to be serving a God that's not alive? Because y'all focus more on the man dying. Didn't you say he come back alive? You say you came back alive, but you focus on the man death. But the man came back alive. And then too, I have another question to ask. If he came back alive, how can he die for your sins? See where I'm going with this? You got patriarchs making up these stories. Y'all need to question stuff. See, I'm about to go down another rabbit hole with that, but you need to question stuff, and you don't. And then when somebody do, try to give you some sense to question things, then you want to rebuke them in the name of Jesus. Then you say we evil because we follow our ancestors. But ain't you praying to a God that's died for your sins? Ain't they dead? Ain't everybody in that Bible dead? Everybody in that Bible you following is dead. So if we doing demonic stuff and doing necromancy, so are you. You need to get somewhere and sit down, and be quiet, and just think. Some of you just need to do that, or they will say that's out of context. Exactly. If they died for us, why are we still? I don't know. It's spending years on a roll. Okay. Okay. The birth of God. Okay. Make it make sense. Y'all have to sit down and make. Then when we ask y'all this question, y'all get mad. I can see how you ever just seen them get mad. They get real mad. Them and then you know what your Bible say. An angry man has a strange God. Why you angry? That's a strange God you serving over there. I just asked you a question. Why I gotta go to hell and all this stuff, and why you spitting that stuff in your mouth? Their head turned around when I'm asking these questions because you don't have the answer. You too focused on trying to push your agenda. You don't have an answer. Just say that. Don't try to rebuke me or whatever. Just say you don't know. Don't say I'm going to hell or nothing. Because a lot of people, a lot of these children too, are sitting in church. Because I was one of them. Want to ask questions, but we didn't see where they get you. Y'all done put people out the church. Told the people that had the the people out the church. They ask y'all these questions because y'all get mad. You do. Okay. You don't want no. I ain't even y'all here have even put signs out keeping people ignorant, telling them not to read no other book but God's book. And the woke God don't want no woke mind. We sat there and told you my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Yeah, they do. They get mad and call us demons and everything else. And y'all act just exactly what y'all accusing us of. If you see yourself in action like that, We can just hold up the mirror and say you act like something wrong with you. The person that you're calling possessed, you're acting just like that. That's how y'all act. And then if you're not careful now, them people will unalive you in the name of Jesus now. They'll justify that. I did that in the name of Jesus. They would justify that. We're talking about these patriarchs were fanaticals. They were eliminating women and children in the name of this. This is what the church done. And y'all don't think y'all crazy? These people actually created torturing devices to unalive women who were spiritually talented. They came up with special type of devices to torture women. They even had men to sign up to do the work. Anybody that showed that they knew how to work with roots or herbs or anything like that or heal somebody, the church would unalive them. They had all types of creative torturing devices to do that. And then they wonder why we got serial unalivers. You created them. You created them when you allowed them to do that stuff to women. And you wonder why a lot of these men get off on doing terrible things to folks. You created that. Yeah, the Satan witch trials. I got put out the Bible study class when it was a team for asking questions no one could answer. See, they'll do that to you. Instead of saying, I don't know, baby. I don't know, baby. Or referring you to a book or whatever else. They get mad. Yeah, okay. They get mad. That's how ignorant folks do because they don't know the answer. Because they blinded. And again, you're messing up the programming. They go to glitching out. You're messing up the programming. You're supposed to be going with the program. You're not supposed to go outside of the program. Because see, when you go out there inside that program, they go to glitching. You'll see that with Nero. I knew something was wrong with me because I would start asking questions. I remember one day I was talking to her mom, I was telling her something. She looked at me and she said, "You think too much." She said, "You think too much. You're gonna get in trouble. You get in trouble. You think too much." I said, "I don't give a damn. I want to know what about those people who don't want us." Because I was telling her, I said, "Wait a minute," because I was trying to figure shit out. I think I was about in my early 20s. I said, "Wait a minute. They make it's enough money. They make enough money in the world so everybody can have money, right? There's enough cars. They keep on making these cars. There's enough cars so everybody can have a car. Nobody be struggling, right? Okay. Everybody don't want to work a job and go to school. What about the people like me who don't want to do none of this stuff? Because I didn't sign up for it." My mom just looked at me. She said, "You think," that's what she said, "You think too much." You think too much. Did anybody ever think about us? Because I never signed up to have a president. I never signed up for none of that stuff. I never signed up to pay taxes. I never said I just was born and y'all start giving this stuff to me. That's horrible that you bring somebody here and just start making them. You got a president now. You got a government now. I ain't want none of that stuff. I didn't sign up for this. What about us that don't want that? We don't want none of that stuff. Y'all just putting that stuff on us. I'm just a soul coming in the world and you just putting stuff on me. You already start putting heavy stuff on children coming in the world. Hell, if we ain't in sin, y'all gonna put it on us. You tell me that ain't sin, you start giving us stuff that we was light spirits at first, and y'all start giving us stuff. Now, if you're doing it on purpose, now I don't think you're doing it on purpose. I don't think you realize what you're doing. Okay, okay, that's how I felt about it. I said, it just don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. And the more spiritual I think you become, the more awakened, the more knowledge, the more wisdom come in you, the less, the less familiar you would be with people. You just because you come to realize that you're a spirit, and so you don't really you really gonna not gonna see you're not gonna feel human no more. That's all I can say. You're gonna be looking at people and you're not gonna feel like them. Okay, when you start to realize that you're a spirit. That's the only way I can explain it. You kind of feel like an alien because you don't even think like them. Okay, a lot of them still thinking on that vibration, and your frequency start rising. It's gonna be hard for you to be around people once you start, your frequency start rising and you start looking at things and seeing things. Okay, put you in a position of seeing, yeah. If they were eliminating women and children, who were the men sleeping with if they were killing women? Believe me, was they really, were they really sleeping with women? Would you call that sleeping? Do you think women voluntarily wanted to be with them? Do you think women was voluntarily want to be with men? They telling you, yeah, they voluntary. No, they wasn't. A lot of them was marrying girls, children, and it wasn't consensual either. They dress it up to you to make it seem like it's consensual. None of that was consensual. Okay, these some of these men was, you saw it back in the 30s and the 20s. You have these 20-year-old men, 30-year-old men marry 14-year-old women. What was that movie Color Purple about? They sitting up there telling you. Some of our grandparents was getting married and having children at the age of 13 and 14. Not because they wanted to. Why you think they trying to lower the age to have these children? Some of these men, they don't want no young older women. They want the young women that can program, they can do and tell her anything about her body and mind. The same thing they did with our great mothers. Yeah, they unalived all the wise women, and what do you think they did with the younger priests? They married them. What do you think? Who do you think Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob was marrying? They were marrying children. They got you thinking they grown women. No, they was not. Why do you think that in Islam they talk about if you go to war, whatever, you're gonna get 800 wives? Why is that? Why are we compared to jewels? They go so far as over there. It's so sad. They got the dancing boys over there. We don't got the women, so we'll take the kids. They messing up the children. Got grown men over here messing with little boys. They don't care. We saw last Thanksgiving, and I'm not saying all of them like that. Some of them like that. Okay, not saying all men like that. That's not what I'm saying here. But there's definitely an issue going on there. Okay, we can't deny that. You had them men in there messing with the turkeys. Now, why are you messing with the damn turkeys? Why are you doing that? There's definitely a problem here. There's definitely some issues going on here. Okay, but they were definitely messing. You go back and read that. I know they're going to fix that up. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking to yourself the things that happened to our ancestors. That's the biggest atrocity in humanity. No, the biggest atrocity in humanity when the divine feminine was overthrown. You can't imagine. Okay, they have doctored it up and make that look pretty in the Bible and make you think that they are unaliving heathen nations. No, they are unaliving matriarch cultures. That's what's going on there. And fixing it up like, oh, they were going to know. Okay. I think a really good example is Ruth. When the king came in there and that king was doing all that stuff he was unaliving a lot of people. And Ruth had to tell him, those are my people. Go read that story of Ruth. Miss Penny, I have to get in this bed. This live is live. You undefeated. All right. Thank you, Black Magic Mike. Okay. Let me go on. You're so welcome. Okay, it says Thunberg asserts, and this may be the reason why he has been so well received by Roman Catholic officials, that there is a clear distinction between the mystical body of Christ and the Church of Triumphant, and the egregore of the church in the political world. If there is an egregore or initiation orders in religions and other communities, they are always negative. The egregore of the Catholicism, for example, is its parasitic double. They're letting you know it's a parasitic double. They're just saying it right there. The egregore of Catholicism, for example, is its parasitic double, the existence of which it is would be futile to deny, which manifests itself as fanaticism, cruelty, diplomatic wisdom, and excessive pretensions. But insofar so the positive spirits of the community are concerned, they are never egregores, but rather they are entities from but insofar as the positive spirits of communities are concerned, they are never egregores, but rather they are entities from the 10 hierarchies. 10 because the 10th hierarchy, that of mankind, is included here. It is therefore a human soul, an angel, or an archangel who assumes responsibility for the direction of the human community in positive sense. So even though the egregore is there, there's still angels there trying to guide the humans. It's called egregores. Egregores, the occult entities that watch over human destiny. That's the name of the book. Okay. We give name to the egregore to a force generated by powerful spiritual current and later fed at regular intervals, conforming to a rhythm in harmony with universal life of the cosmos, or to a meeting of the entities untitled by a common characteristic. In the invisible outside of the physical perception of man, there exists an artificial beings generated by devotion, enthusiasm, fanaticism, which we call egregores. These are the hearts of the great spiritual currents, good and evil, the mystical church, the celestial Jerusalem, the body of Christ, and all such titles are qualifications which give communion to the egregores of the Catholicism, Freemasonry, Protestantism, and Islam. And in Buddhism, have egregores. Great political ideologies have them too. So you see them everywhere. You're welcome. You're gonna be everywhere. You're gonna see them everywhere. Psychically integrated ritual initiation through an intellectual adherence to these currents, the affiliate becomes one of these constitutive cells. He augments the power of the egregore through qualities or faults which he possesses, and in exchange, the egregore isolates him from the external forces of the physical world. And with the collective force it had previously stored, greatly enhances the feeble means of activity of man who joins with it. So now it's coating him, it's protecting him. Okay, so they're going in these Freemasons, masonry, and all this. This is the spirit that they're up under. And if I'm not mistaken, I think there is a name. It is a particular name of this egregore too. I've seen names in some of these Freemasonry books. Okay, and sometimes this name is different depending upon the lodge or what they got going on. Okay. Instinctively, popular language gives the name circle to an egregore. Yeah. All right. Instinctively, popular languages gives the name of the circle to the egregore, thus intuitively expressing the idea of a circuit between the constitutive cell and the egregore, that is to say, between the affiliate and the group. A sort of inner psychic circulation is thereby established. So they're all drawing power from this egregore. This explains why opponents of such concept, on studying the origin, nature, and life of this concept, often end by joining with it, or at the least by espousing a part of the theories. Even without their knowledge, they are connected to a current which, as it is more powerful than those who are primitively linked to it, carries them unknowingly away from the road that they imagined they were following. So this thing can uh, it can mess with you, and you won't even know it. You'll be doing things unconsciously and not knowing why you're doing it. You will have your mind focused on something else and get distracted with doing something else if you are attached as this egregore. That's what they're saying there. If they were free of any affiliation, this action would only be the more brutal and strong. So it gets stronger. According to Amberling, the formation of an egregore is described in the works of a spiritual exercise of Ignatius of Loyola. Ignatius, being the founder of the Jesuits, see, they know about it. Now we're going up into the priests again, just going higher up in rank. So now you know what they're doing behind closed doors. It should also be underscored that the egregores are vitalized through rituals. Thus, only human associations can form them. So they let you know they are intentionally making some of these things. The corollary is the destruction of an egregore rapidly occurs with the death by fire of its living members. Ain't that something? It's that kind of got you like explaining this hell thing. You know, it kind of give you an explanation for this hell thing, why they created this hell thing. You know, it sounds like some projection going on here. When I was reading this, it says correlate is the destruction of an egregore rapidly occurs with the death by fire of its living members and the destruction of its rituals and paraphernalia. Without these material supports and the emotional psychic energy they provide, the astral egregore will wither and die. So basically, when the members of the organization are burnt up, that's when the egregore is destroyed. Remember, they told us if we don't do what they say, we going to hell and we're going to get burnt up. Is this where they getting that from? Then they project it onto us because that's what's gonna happen to you if you stop feeding this thing. Or if we was to get rid of you, that's what we need to do to get rid of you because you have to experience fire. Is a projection going on? Basically, what I'm asking you. Is that what they saying, y'all? If I ask Miss Penny, what book are you reading? Is that what that sound like? Listen to what he's saying now. They saying that you got to burn up every living member that's in that organization in order for the egregore to die. You sure did, Black Magic Mike. Y'all here, y'all holding down that chat. I'm so happy to have y'all here. Okay, so somebody asked me what was the book. Egregores, the occult entities that watch over human and destiny by Mark Stavish. That's the name of the book. Okay. Good night, Black Magic Mike. Thank you so much for coming to the live stream. That sound like that, y'all. Cause where did they have that? That's got to be where that hellfire thing came from. They was telling us that in the church. Listen to what it says. It says the corollary is the destruction of an egregore rapidly occurs with the death by fire of its living members and the destruction of its rituals and paraphernalia. Without the material supports and the emotional psychic energy they provide, the astral egregore will wither and die. The incineration is required so as to not shed blood. Can't shed blood in it because that's going to cause it to keep going. The medium of the cult vitality. The life is in the blood, particularly if it's ritualistic. Remember they got y'all drinking that flesh. I mean, you're eating flesh and you're drinking. You pretend like you're drinking somebody's blood. What you doing, Christian people? Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you're doing? I don't think y'all know what you're doing. You see what this thing just said here? I don't think y'all know what y'all doing. You don't know what you're getting yourself into it. Y'all doing, yeah. Look at what Amethyst said. They're doing blood magic. That's what you doing. Drinking the blood of Jesus vampire. See? You don't know what you're doing and sitting up over here in other people's business and your stuff over there raggedy. You need to get somewhere and sit down and think about what you're doing. It says incineration is required. This is the occult person speaking. This is the spiritual scientific science person is speaking here. This is the occultist saying this. It's in the organization. I ain't making this up. These folks saying this. Okay? He said the incineration is required so as not to shed blood, the medium of the occult vitality, particularly if its release is ritualistic. So y'all doing it in communion and you're feeding that egregore. That's required to keep the egregore powerful and strong. You don't know what you're doing. You get somewhere and sit down and be quiet. Stop coming for people. Stop trying to convert people into that cult. Stop doing it. You don't know what you're doing. However, because one experienced a profound backlash upon the leaving by choice or through excommunication, Abilene suggests that one temporarily seek shelter in an equivalent but opposite power. Just as physical association exists because of a membership, so egregores exist because of the entities or beings that they attract on the astral plane. The power to attract, compel, and maintain these entities is a direct result of the rituals and sacrifices performed for them by the earthly adherents. Again, all egregores exist on all three levels: material, astral, and celestial. So when you see the master in the lodge or even the preacher, there are the egregore in the flesh. That's basically what they're telling you. I hope this making sense to y'all. I hope some Christians are listening to this. You ain't got to say nothing, but I hope it's informing you because you don't know what you're doing. You don't question nothing. And I just be so scared for you because y'all be really holding on to that ignorance and then get mad at people. It be mind boggling to us that's woke because we like, okay, it ain't like you don't have a choice to not be ignorant. You have a choice, but you're making a informed decision to be ignorant and then fight me and ready to unalive me in the name of Jesus to keep this going on. And if you're gonna stay in it, please gonna make it make sense. It need to be making sense up in there. Okay, you're gonna have to shift that and make that make sense like our ancestors did. They made that make sense to them. You don't even use it in the way your ancestors used it to make sense of stuff. Okay, it just keeps you crazy. Okay, and y'all have a hard time reprogramming getting this out of you because you still be scared of stuff. You still be thinking something wrong with your ancestors. Okay. Let me go on down here. I'm gonna get ready to close this out, honey. I'm trying to close it out, y'all, but it's so much information on this. For this reason, any interruption in the performance of the ritual will have equally disruptive effect on the vitality of the egregore. Thus, rituals after a certain period of time cannot be modified without weakening the egregore, making secrecy all the more critical. Rituals compose secrets, names, words, and formula. To awaken and establish the egregore are also directed around specific astrological events. They be doing different ceremonies and events around at different times, of the moon cycles and things like that, astrological events to coordinate with the celestial cosmic cycles. It is not by accident that the equinox and the solstice rituals play such an important part in many organizations. So you have the religious egregores, okay, when millions of people pray, worship, and meditate upon a shared deity or image or egregore forms around the entity. This can be seen in large religious institutions where the original spiritual message, love, and compassion and unity may become overshadowed by survival instinct of the institution itself. The egregore may pressure its followers to conform, reject outsiders, or perpetuate guilt or fear to maintain loyalty. The divine essence becomes veiled by the power structure that has developed around it. Fraternities and societies, fraternities, fraternities, orders, and secret societies such as the Freemasons, reclusions often build powerful egregores through rituals and oaths. They just told you that. They just told you that. They're telling you right there. Didn't I tell you they take oaths? I told you that. They're telling you that right there. I'm not making this up. Freemasons or recruiters often build powerful egregores through ritual oaths and shared symbols. The secrecy and repetition of the sacred rites amplify group energy, creating psychic containers that connects members beyond time and distance. However, if members lose personal sovereignty, they can become conduits of the egregor's will rather than its conscious co-creator. So now they got the egregor controlling them. That's what they doing in there in the secret societies. They telling you that. They telling you that. I'm not saying it. They saying it. They telling you what they doing. Covens and magical orders. In witchcraft or occult circles, covens often work with a specific deity, spirits, or archetypes. Through repeated rituals and intentions, they form an egregore that embodies their magical current. When used wisely, this can be empowering and protective. But if the coven becomes ruled by ego, competition, manipulation, the egregore can feed on conflict, draining members instead of uplifting them. Modern organizations and movements. Even outside the religion of spirituality, egregores thrive in corporate, political, and social movements. A company, brand, culture, or a nation patriotism are living examples of collective entities that influence millions of minds, shaping behaviors and identity for better or for worse. Liberation from collective control. Awareness is key. When you know that thoughts and emotions carry energy, you can begin to observe what frequencies you feed. Ask yourself, do my emotions feel authentically mine? Or am I resonating with the collective energy around me? Does this belief bring me peace or expansion? Or does it instill fear or conformity? Am I serving love and truth? Or an idea that feeds off devotion? Spiritual maturity means breaking the unconscious agreements we make with egregores that no longer serve our evolution. When we reclaim our mind, heart, and spirit, we stop being food for collective entities and become conscious creators of our own reality. Every group, movement, and belief system has an energetic body, the egregore, because it's going to form on its own. Thoughts are things. Okay, so when we come together with one thought, one mind, Gregor is going to form. Okay. Like I said, the mind is very powerful. It's very spiritual and supernatural. It's doing something all the time. You can't see your mind, but it's working for you. Miss Penny bringing the truth. Okay. It can be a teacher, a protector, or oppressor, depending on the consciousness of those who sustain it. Awareness transforms the dynamics. When we remember that thought is creative emotion, it is magnetic, and spirits is sovereign. We regain mastery over the unseen forces that shape our world. The goal is not to destroy the egregores, but to purify our participation in them to feed only that which uplifts, enlightens, and liberates. Okay. So I finished that. I'm sorry I kept you guys a long time. I told you it's gonna be a while to get your popcorn and everything and get settled in. Okay. Anyone has any questions? Because I just laid a lot on y'all. Okay. You can feel that energy. I know I pulled to leave the health field. That Christian art just didn't sit right with my soul at all. Okay. That's why I left. I felt like I had to get out of an art museum when I went to Christian art part. You know what? I heard somebody. I was reading a book one time. I forgot what book it was. I done read so many books. But this lady was talking about how she was going to visit all these Christian churches and everything. And sh- other people wasn't able to see it. But I think because, it's some people that can see subliminal things. And she was able to see these subliminal figures that was in the art. And a lot of the priests was surprised that she was able to see it, and she was telling them why is these disfigured beings, subliminal beings in this art. But see, they didn't know that she could see it. She knew something was going on in that church and she left. But a lot of people didn't see what she was seeing. But she was able to see these disfigured uh beings subliminally hid in a lot of this Christian art. You know, maybe that's what you were picking up. That this about the mindset as first steps into my power. That's what I thought about when you were saying that. I've been pulled up the lead health field. I would 200. It's so many spirits working through people in the health field. I can't see it, but I can feel it. It was weird. It's first testament. As one lady said, she was seeing it, and I think she could. Some people just can see subliminal messages real good. Like you'll have a word, and you'll see the outlining of another word behind it. She was able to see that real well, and so that's what she was seeing, all those subliminal messages in the artwork. But see, the priest didn't know that she could see it, and she kept telling them, she was like, "Why are these subliminal messages, these figures, subliminally hidden in the artwork?" And they didn't know she could see it, and they tried to explain it to her, but she said she didn't feel good about it because why would you put that in there? Why is those energies, those disfigured beings in the artwork like that? And she was able to see it, and said maybe that's what you're picking up on. I don't know, but that's what it came to mind when you said that. You was talking about how it made you feel weird. Okay, so we covered all this today. I know that's a lot, you guys. I like the movie. I Live. Yep, that's a good one. They Live. You talking about They Live? When them people was, he put on the glasses and them people look like skeletons in the face, and then he take the glasses off, they look normal. That's the movie you talking about, Raquel? Okay, we covered a lot today, and I told you we would cover it today. Okay, we would cover it today. So, are egregores all bad? No, but they can be used, and they are being used on a mass scale to control the masses. And so when you see some of these people acting the way they acting and all that stuff, that's some of that what's going on. Is it better to build an altar first to do shadow work? Well, you don't have to build an altar to do shadow work not unless you want to. You're gonna make it a healing altar. You're gonna be doing some healing work on yourself there. You can do it if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay, I apologize, but yes, They Live. Yeah, that's I movie you was talking about that. Yeah, that was a crazy movie too. So we covered a lot today, you guys, and in our community. I think I gave this book to, and I'm thinking about just giving it to the ritual territory. I just realized that I gave it to the Know Thyself members and the Conjure tier because it was just, I know we cover it thoroughly over there in our Conjure membership because at some point we cover Jewish mysticism and they cover egregores. Okay, so I familiarize you with the egregore when you get over into conjure, especially when you kind of dealing with doll babies and things like that. I do a lot of my work at ancestral altar, only altar I have right now. Okay, what are the difference in the patrons? Okay, so on Patreon we have the $5 membership. Those for y'all, you just say I want to read. I want to know about hoodoo, but I just want to read right now. I'm not ready to do anything. I just want to learn. That's the $5 membership. That's the occult membership. That's $5. Then you have the ritual. The ritual is saying, hey, I have an ancestor altar. I want to learn more rituals. I want to learn to work with angels. I want to learn to work with saints. I want to perfect my root work and, my ritual. I want more stuff to do on my altar. That's ritual. Okay. We're going to give all the root work, teach you how to work with information on working with angels and working with saints and ancestors, perfecting your ancestor communication and things like that. You'll get that in ritual. Now, when you get the conjure, you've got the conjure membership. Focus just on conjure. These are for people say, I know how to do the ritual. I learned everything and I know how to do. I got my stuff together. I want to work with these spirits. I want to learn how to beef up my necromancy or my mediumship abilities. I want to work directly with spirits. Then you get over there and conjure, and you'll get all the guidebooks on how to set up a table to work with different spirits. And I will give you information to work with goetic spirits. I will give you information how to work. You say you want to do this. Okay, so don't get over there and I start giving you stuff and be like, oh, Miss Penny gave me that demon book. That's what you said you wanted to learn. That's what you told me. Okay? So I get you over there and I give you a book. Don't get shocked because that's what you said you wanted. You said you was a big dog, you was a high stepper. So I'm gonna treat you like a high stepper. Okay? So don't get over there and you get that book and say, oh my God, Miss Penny gave me a book all on demons and go-ahead experience. She's teaching me how to conjure up these things. That's what you said you want to do. Okay? I'm only giving you what you asked for. So don't get over there and get shy, get scared, okay? Because I'm gonna give it to you. And I'm gonna talk to you like you know what you're doing. Because that's you talking to me like you know what you're doing. So I'm gonna talk to you like you know what you're doing. Okay? Now the know thyself tier membership is say, Miss Penny, I don't know nothing, but I want to know everything, Miss Penny. I want to heal. I want to be strong in my hoodoo. I don't know nothing, but I want to know everything. Well, you get over there and I know thyself membership because you we do shadow work. We do workshops about shadow work. And that reminds me, I need to post a meeting for us to meet for the new members. I forgot to post it. I'm gonna post it today, you guys. I promise. And maybe we can meet. I saw that poll. I forgot which day you chose, but we're gonna pick a day and we're gonna get it together. Okay. For the next year left for that country. Yep. Okay, so that's for the big dogs. And I give that to you. I'm gonna give it to you now. So don't get upset and think now that what you said you ready to do. And this is what our ancestors did, when they had to do some justice work. They had to work with some of these spirits. Okay. And so the know thyself, you get everything, you get all everything, but you also get the shadow work workshop that we do twice a month. It's a healing circle. You get all the resources with that as well. So yeah, the prices again. Uh, the occult is $5. The ritual membership is 10. The conjure is 20, and the know thyself is $33. Nothing is really pricey over there. Okay, it's all affordable. If you are interested in an astro reading, uh, you can DM your time. They're $15. There are $15 for the astro reading, $35 for the tarot reading. Let me put this in the chat. There you go. So if you're looking for a reading, just DM me or email me. Okay. And I'll get you out an invoice. And when that's completed, I'll get started on assisting you or sending you an appointment or get started on your chart. Okay. Thank you so much. This information is life changing. May you forever be blessed, Miss Penny. Thank you, Diva Divine. Miss Penny, which one of the protection healings would you recommend? Protection and healing would you recommend? What you mean, Raquel? Are you trying to use a different method? Is that what you asking me? Is you asking me what method I would use? Or what I would do? Is that what you asking me? I'm trying to understand your question. What are the price? Okay, I got you that. I'll be ready for next year. Yeah, conjure. You better know what you're doing. Okay, that's the folks that know how they doing. They ain't scared to call on no spirit, and they can stand grounded and protected. They're not scared. And you know you ain't working no spirit with nobody but your ancestors, saints, and angels. Stay over there and root work with the rituals at. Stay over there and root work. Okay, conjuring is you say you want to go out and it's the and of course too in conjure I start giving you information on how to work with orishas. You'll get a whole guidebook of how to work with different orishas and laws and Santa Murte and Lilith and Cali. You'll just get so many resources on how to work with different deities over there. So not just demons, but other spirits as well. Okay. Uh, so if you go into one of the first thing, if you're going into our ritual membership, that's the first thing I'm gonna have you doing. That's more hands on. If you're in the occult membership, that's not going to be hands on. That's just a lot of resources. So you're not going to get the lectures, uh, and you probably won't get all the books in the occult because I try to be very careful if you're a beginner. I don't want to be giving you stuff and you just starting out. I don't want to, I don't want to jeopardize you getting yourself in trouble like that. But using the ritual membership, that's a good place to start because you're going to get everything. Even with the occult tier, they still get all the books, but they just don't get the lecture. Okay. But you're going to get protection, defense, psychic defense book, protection book. It's really, you can't pick up a conjure book without them teaching you something about protection and cleansing. That's one of the first things a lot of practitioners going to get you familiar with protection is cleansing. It is when people start following other people trying to do what they doing because they showing you stuff and you don't know nothing. That's what you get you in trouble. Okay? Because you don't know nothing about the spiritual science, but yeah, you're gonna try to do what this person and done. I don't cover hectate. I don't cover them. I try to stay within the hoodoo working frame. And Lilith is only in there. Is it? Do I have Lilith on there? I think I do. Lilith is only in there. I put Lilith in there because again, she's in the astrological chart. So that's the only reason I have that over there. But I try to stay within the framework of hoodoo as much as possible. Okay. Do you feel like TK initiated to the work with Orishas? I ain't understand that question. Do you feel like TK initiated to work with the Orishas? What that mean? Who is TK, baby? Thank you. You have a trusting energy. You're welcome, baby. Who is TK? You don't know no pronunciation. Y'all know I'm Gen X. I can't keep up with all y'all pronunciations. You don't have to tell me what TK is. No, just for beginners. Okay, so ritual is good for beginners, especially if you're trying to work with your ancestors. Now, if you just don't, you ain't trying to take no action right now. You just looking, you just want to read, then you probably need to get on their cult membership. You just get nothing but resources to read. Do you like, you have to be initiated to work with the Richard? Sorry, it was a typo. Okay, baby. Now, y'all heard me talk about you're gonna get me in trouble, Amethyst, because a lot of these people that's initiated, they get mad at me when I say this. It depends on who you ask. If you follow your ancestors, I don't know where they're gonna lead you. Your ancestors might lead you to work with the Orisha. I don't know. The only thing I can do is I can show you how to follow your ancestors. Okay? You start setting up your table and you start having dreams, and Oshun start coming in your dreams, or Papa Leg will start coming in your dreams. I have no control over that. Okay, so I don't know where your ancestors gonna lead you. And once your ancestors show you, that's the initiation process right there. The ancestors are initiating you. That's what they're gonna do over there in Ifa. Okay. So if your ancestors start, then you start praying your ancestors, and all of a sudden you start working with your ancestors, and all of a sudden you start having dreams about Oshun, or you start having dreams about Papa Legba, Yemiya, and you know you've been working with your ancestors. You ain't been studying you ain't been studying Papa Legba, you ain't been studying Oshun, but all of a sudden they rolling up in your dreams. Who you gonna obey? The ancestors or a person? Who you gonna believe? The ancestors or a person? If the ancestors is putting this up in your dream and it's coming up in your dream, what you gonna do? Because the ancestors is setting this up and telling you to go over there. So what you gonna do? How you know the difference between ancestor initiation and possession? Initiation is when your ancestors, they're going to come to you. Initiation is when spiritual contact take place. Possession is when you, again, they take over you. Do you know what possession means? Then you have some of our ancestors. I was hearing Shiva Sarah talking that you can embody the energy of some of these Orisha, like their characteristics, and try to become them. Okay, you start setting up your characteristics and attributes like them and start embodying them. But initiation is when the spirit make contact. People got you thinking this, so it's a misconception because people think when you go over there and get initiated, no, initiation in the ATR is like you paying intuition to go to their school of divination. You start the school. Doesn't mean you're gonna get them spirits. You got to learn all that stuff first. Same thing in hoodoo. It ain't no different. Okay? And what they're doing is trying to teach you to communicate with this spirit, to have contact with this spirit. You're not gonna automatically have spiritual contact just because you get initiated over there. They're gonna give you the information so you can have contact. So the real initiation don't happen until these spirits start rolling up on you. That's the real initiation. I think there's a lot of misconception going on there, and people jump over there, and it's nothing like what they thought. They're gonna hand you a whole bunch of books and e-bowls and stuff, and shove you over there and put you in a room somewhere until you get somewhere and read and think about it. Same thing happened over here in hoodoo. Ain't nothing changed. You're not skipping that. And if you is skipping that over there, I wonder about what you initiated in. Okay. And I just, because even at the end of it, they still got to get you to work with a spirit. That's what that's all about. You getting over there. We trying to follow spirit. We getting over there so we can get close to them spirits, so we can fix our life and fix our health or whatever we got going on with us. That's why we getting over there, so we can follow spirit. The issue with people is they get over there and they start following people, and that's my drawback with the religion. And that's how I think that too, that keeps people stagnated, because you have some people over there in some of those religions. They be gatekeeping. They can see that you're talented. They can see that you're born psychic or clairvoyant. And some of them, they will start dragging their feet on your rituals and stuff, so you won't grow in the practice. You got some folks like that. That's why I say human is, you start getting humans in the middle of your spiritual affairs. And I'm not gonna put no human in my spiritual affairs, because you're not gonna be playing with my evolution and growth. I'm not gonna go playing with you like that. You hear me? They can stagnate you. Humans are flawed. That's why I say you need to be somewhere with your ancestors. Because I've asked people something sometime, the ancestor told me the answer. And I asked them just to confirm, and they be lying. I said, "What the hell going on here?" And says, "We ain't lying. They lying. We not lying. We don't lie. Why we gotta lie?" Okay, so we're flawed. Do we do it on purpose all the time? I don't want to think that we do it on purpose. I just want to say it's just human frailty. Humans just lie. Humans we're not perfect. That's why we're here. We're here to get a lesson so we can refine ourselves. So when you start putting people in the middle of your spiritual evolution and growth, you really need to have some good discerning going on, and have a good founded ancestral practice before you start jumping over there into initiating into voodoo or into Ifa. And I don't know why they would do it. They need to stop trying to initiate people and start uh breaking down the science and educating them, and let them make the choice to do it, and stop trying to automatically initiate them. I'm worried when you're doing that. And then, you know, I just see that from another perspective. I can see things probably you don't see, but I see it. Okay. It brings them money. That's why they just as bad as the church. I agree with you, Serenity. Okay? So you have to ask yourself that they're not supposed to be doing it. If anything, they're supposed to be asking you, do you want to do? Or can they pray for you? or your ancestors told them to pray for you or something like that. They're not supposed to be trying to initiate you like that. Okay? All right. Okay, you guys know where to find me. And I don't know when I'll be back here. I think the ancestors gonna have me sitting down for a little bit. I got a message the other day saying I probably need to sit down for a minute or two. So I'll probably be back here in 2 or 3 days. Okay. I'm still here. So if you need me, you know where I'm at. You know where to find me. Okay. All right, you guys. Thank you for sitting on the live stream. You guys have a wonderful night. And look, I got everything backwards. I'm put my fingers up here. This is where it go right here.